hot, humid day in South Bend, Indiana. It's the Eddie Robinson Second Annual Football Classic. The Jayhawks of Kansas and the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame before a sellout of 80,000 fans. As you can see, a corridor of a couple of hundred former Notre Dame footballers, many of them great stars, awaiting the 1999 edition of Bob Davies' Fighting Irish, 9-3 a year ago. There's Jarious Jackson, honored this year as the sole captain by his teammates. They decided that he was the man after his fine season a year ago as quarterback of the Irish. Bob Davie ready to bring his team for 1999 on the field for this season opener. Hello, everyone. Dick Enberg along with Pat Hayden, and we invite you and we welcome you to the first of our NBC Notre Dame games throughout this fall. This is a time for ism and asm, enthusiasm and optimism, and that is nationwide on every college campus.
You know, the opening of the college football season is always a great day for me. You know, the hot dogs taste better, the grass looks greener, everybody's out playing catch in the ballpark, and it's going to be a great game, we believe.
Everyone looking forward to a national championship.
Undefeated.
They're all unbeaten now, aren't they? Well, let's talk about Notre Dame, this Irish team. We saw Jarious Jackson already a year ago. He was a relative unknown, and now he's taking the Irish onto the field. Terry Allen, the coach of Kansas, his team awaiting the appearance of the Irish. Allen, like Davie, in his third year as head coach at his university, and that third year critical in terms of convincing the alumni that you're the man for the future. Let's get back to Jarious Jackson. What kind of grades did you give him a year ago?
Well, you know, he really was a question mark at the beginning of the season, but if you step back, Professor, look at his performance last year, you'd have to give him a solid B+. He really had a very, very good season. His numbers were really remarkable. As you look here, 1,700 passing yards. I think it was amazing. Only 6 interceptions while he threw 13 touchdown passes. Now, new offensive coordinator Kevin Rogers comes in from Syracuse. They want some more big plays of that offense. They're going to still run the offense. You'll see more pitches. You're going to see some throws downfield. So they have the quarterback to come up with those big plays. But their question this year is at running back. You know, Andre Denson's gone, but you'll see Tony Fisher and Tony Driver share that position today.
Well, and fans, they look not just at record, but at national championships. And if the Irish are to get there, Jarious Jackson will have to go from a B+ to an A+. Now let's go to Kansas. They were 4-7 a year ago, the Jayhawks. A wide open offense. They love to throw the long ball.
Well, you know, every team has you like to hang your hat on something. You have to have an identity. Their identity is throwing the football. They have 3 wide receiver sets, 4 wide receiver sets. Sometimes you'll see no backs in the backfield. But in spite of all that, I think they're really going to, today, if they're going to win, the David Winbush, their outstanding running back, is going to have a big day. This is a guy that had a great year a year ago, ran for nearly 1,000 yards for the Jayhawks. Here against Colorado, ran for 3 touchdowns, 268 yards. He's only 5'7", but very, very powerful, big, strong legs. So, you know, in spite of all this passing and formations we're talking about, they're going to ride the strong legs of David Winbush.
So it figures that the Kansas Jayhawks will score. The question, as it was a year ago, how good will they be on defense in stopping the Irish today? Kansas and Notre Dame, the Eddie Robinson Classic, will return to South Bend after these words from your local station. And welcome back to South Bend, Indiana. Currently down at the 50-yard line, the ceremonial coin toss with Paul Hornung, the former Heisman great for Notre Dame, representing the Irish, and Gale Sayers, the Kansas Comet for the University of Kansas. Captain shake hands, and Eddie Robinson, age 80. 408 career wins. There's Gale Sayers and Paul Hornung. Kansas won the toss. It is a day of comfort or discomfort. How tough is it down there, Craig Sager?
Dick, the Jayhawks may not be in Kansas anymore, but today it may feel like they are. For the past 2 weeks, Notre Dame has been practicing in unseasonably cool temperatures caused by overcast conditions. But today, with a rating in the 90s, humidity near 80, and a heat index approaching 110, summer is back in South Bend. Now, the Jayhawks should be climatized to these conditions because of that blazing heat wave that's been in the southwest and central plains. Meanwhile, the Irish coaching staff and medical staff is concerned with possible potential heat stress that could cause a loss of body fluids and also cramps. Another stress point for Bob Davie, the coach of Notre Dame, the 11-year cycle. Air Parsegian won a national championship in 1966. 11 years later, Dan Devine won one. 11 years after that, Lou Holtz was a national champion. 11 more years have passed since 1999, and the heat is on Bob Davie. Dick and Pat.
All right, Craig. So the 11-year omen for Bob Davie. Can he follow in the footsteps of those who have coached the Irish to national titles? Last time the Irish had 7 home games, as they do this year, was that 1988 National Championship year. The roar of the crowd as the two teams take the field. Kansas winning the toss will return. Mitch Bowles, a senior from Las Vegas, one of those deep to return, along with Carl Neesmith, number 5, junior college transfer, and they think that Neesmith has the potential of being a great player. We'll see a lot of him today. There's Neesmith. Jim Sanson, the senior, will kick it off for the Irish. What a scene. Another collegiate football year to be kicked off here at Notre Dame. Sanson takes his cue, and the end over end booms toward the end zone and through the end zone. Kansas begins from the 20-yard line, and their senior quarterback Zach Wegner in this offensive set.
And big question marks, Dick, on the offensive line. They lost 3 starters from a year ago. Chris Senekig anchors that offensive line at center. Damian Hunt, the returning starter, left guard.
The principal financial group starting lineups, and there's David Winbush, 22, with his big fullback and blocker, Morin Norris.
Yeah, and the wide receivers really a strength, Fulton and Hill in particular.
In motion, single back, and it's Winbush. And he scoots out to the 25-yard line, where it'll be 2nd down and 5 against the blue-clad Irish defense. And here are the Irish on defense. You'll note immediately that they've gone from the 3-4 to the 4-3 set.
And they believe those front 4 are some of the best front 4 they've had here in years. Grant Irons and Antoine Jones in for the Anthony Weaver.
All 3 linebackers are new, and of course the defense at times were suspect against the long pass. Wagner hit as he throws incomplete. Antoine Jones starting today for the injured Anthony Weaver. Got a hand on it.
You know, and amazing. A year ago, Dick, if you remember, the very first defensive play for the Irish last season, Antoine Jones made a play against Michigan. The second defensive play this year, Antoine Jones, number 85, makes a play, even though it's a 5-step drop. So good omen for the Irish. In for Antoine Jones.
3 wide receivers. Winbush the solo back, and he goes in motion. Empty backfield on 3rd down 5. Wagner over the middle, complete and hit immediately. Termaine Fulton, the wide receiver. Did he get across the 30-yard line? He was right at the 30. They mark it there. 1st down, Kansas.
Now, it looks like when the Irish see that open backfield that you mentioned, they're going to bring a corner off the side. Here's a corner coming. That is DEVERON HARPER. That's a side adjustment. A good receiver makes sure on 3rd down you go the distance, and he made it by what? A scooch?
Half the length of the football as Deke Cooper, number 1, applied the hit. 1st down for the Jayhawks. Norris and Winbush behind Wagner. Again, it's the 5'7" Winbush, and he gathers a crowd, picks up about 3. Winbush, who is a junior from Killeen, Texas. His older brother, Chris, wore number 22 at McNeese State, and he wears 22 in his honor. He said he was my inspiration growing up. Delightful young man with a smile as big as his talent.
Yeah, just 26 yards short of 1,000 a year ago. Is really a dynamic guy. You mentioned his kind of hero is Barry Sanders. Runs in that kind of style. Short at 5'7", but very, very strong.
180 pounds. 2nd down and 7. Wagner to the sidelines, complete, and down at the 39-yard line is Michael Chandler. Comes into his senior year with 46 career catches, a senior from Kansas City, Kansas.
Well, what you're going to see about Kansas, remember that the field is not only 120 yards long, it is 53 yards wide. This offense, yeah, thank you, 53 and a third. You're absolutely right. I always forget that last third. But they are forcing teams, they want to force teams to defend that whole 53 and a third yards. And you see a lot of dinks and dunks, and then they'll take some shots later on.
Third down and 1 for Terry Allen's team. Winbush again, the single back, and he gets the call. Fumbles the ball, and a huge scramble. The Irish think they have it. They do at the 38-yard line. And Winbush slow getting up as he was scissored as the Irish hit him from a couple of directions, and the ball popped free.
Yeah, I think it was Rocky Boyman, number 30, who got the recovery, and Grant Irons forced the fumble. Rocky Boyman, an outside linebacker, makes a recovery. There's 44. Good hustle. Got a helmet on the ball as well.
And a Johnny Sanders, number 5, was from the other direction, and between Irons and Sanders, there's the fumble, and indeed it was Irons reaching through that'll be credited with a fumble. First down Irish at their own 39-yard line as they attempt to take advantage of an early turnover. 2.5 minutes into this opening quarter. That's Holloway, the tight end, in motion. The give, no, fake to Fisher, throw wide open Holloway, and he dropped the ball. Tried to run, knew he had some open territory in front of him. Let's take a look at Notre Dame's starting offense with quarterback Jarious Jackson, and this is a new-look offensive line.
4 new offensive linemen. John Morandi, the only returning, but watch Jordan Black, number 78, over at the left tackle. The coaches are very, very high on Jordan Black.
In the backfield, Tony Fisher gets the start, but Tony Driver, who played safety last year, will get a lot of work today.
Yeah, and these 3 guys here are all improved.
Second down 10 as the Irish on first down throw the ball. Now, the give to the tailback Fisher, and Fisher gets nowhere. Stacked up at the line of scrimmage is Quincy Rowe, number 7, dashing in from a cornerback spot. And Greg Erb as well, 38. The defense for the Jayhawks of Kansas. Sands is a first-year player.
And has a chance really to be a dominating player. John Williams, a very strong at the nose tackle position.
And the Darius Lomax is considered a potential star at linebacker. Where's 51? Butkus was his hero. He loves to hit. Ineligible last year. So on 3rd and 10, Jackson breaks a tackle on the scramble, breaks another. First down. Could go all the way. Touchdown. .38 yards. Jarious Jackson, who rushed for 441 yards and 3 touchdowns a year ago on the scramble, shows his incredible all-around talent. Not only the power to break tackles, but the speed to outrun defenders. Six nothing as Sanson tries the extra point. He missed 5 last year, remember, and nails this one in Notre Dame. Forces the fumble by Winbush. And on 3rd down and 10, Jackson delivers 6 points. 230-pound Jarious Jackson gives the Irish the early 7-0 lead.
You know, a year ago, Kevin Rogers, the offensive coordinator, had McNabb, Donovan McNabb at quarterback. He looked a little bit like Donovan on that run.
The 50-year senior with a electrifying start for the Irish, a 38-yard scramble for a touchdown.
You know, Dick, even when you have good players, well defensed, which the Jayhawks really did. They had an early blitz there. Came clean on Jarious Jackson. He made a miss. I mean, you open up the whole playbook because he can beat you throwing the ball, as he did a lot last year, and certainly running. He's 227 pounds and a very strong runner.
Tim Bowers and Kareem High both had a shot at making the tackle.
That's Kevin Rogers, the new offensive coordinator, came from Syracuse, coaches the quarterbacks as well. And again, they want more big plays from everybody, the passing game and in the option game.
As you mentioned, Donovan McNabb, the second player picked in the NFL draft, his pupil. This one will be returned. It's Mitch Bowles. 15, stutters out to the 19-yard line. Good coverage by the Irish, an 18-yard return.
What the Jayhawks really need now is not even necessarily a score. It is just an extended possession. They look a little shaken after that touchdown by Notre Dame. And what you'd like to see is, if you're a Jayhawk fan, 3-4 first downs at least.
Allen, whose background was living in a coach's family. His dad was the head swimming coach and assistant football coach at the University of Iowa. He played quarterback at Northern Iowa and later coached there before moving to Lawrence. And this now his third season. 4 wide receivers for Zach Wegner here on first down at his own 18. Quick drop.
Intercepted by DEVERON HARPER. It's another touchdown.
And Terry Allen can't believe it.
Pass intended in the flat for Harrison Hill, and DEVERON HARPER, who did not have an interception all last year, here early in the season. We're just not even 4 minutes into the 1999 year, has an interception for a touchdown.
Well, he's a senior, has not had an interception his entire career, Dick, which is a little surprising. In high school, he was a great receiver, caught 146 balls. They wanted to be more aggressive offensively and defensively, but DEVERON HARPER jumped that route.
So Sanson and the PAT unit in to attempt to attack on the extra point, and it is no good.
Missed 5 last year.
And he misses his second try this year. So the Irish lead 13-0. Let's check Harper again.
This is a great play by DEVERON HARPER. As soon as he saw the quarterback take a 3-step drop, he knew it was going to be a short pass, drove on the ball. That's well scouted, well coached, and then very well played by DEVERON HARPER, his first interception in his Notre Dame career.
For 55 years, Eddie Robinson was the head coach and very embodiment of Grambling football, and over the decades, he made one small black college into a football powerhouse and a national institution. When his remarkable era ended, he was the only coach in the history of this game with more than 400 victories, 408. Truly one of the sports giants of the 20th century, Coach Eddie Robinson. And Pat Hayden, Willie Davis, the great Hall of Famer defensive end who played for him, then went on to the Green Bay Packers, had this to say about Coach Robinson. He taught us discipline. He made men out of confused kids. He taught us manners and the dignity of hard work. Eddie Robinson. He's with Craig Sager and be watching this kickoff.
Well, Dick, not only is he in the Hall of Fame, but he was more the coach who did the most for college football. And Coach, what does this mean to have this classic here in Notre Dame?
It's just so gratifying to have the opportunity to provide funds for the youngsters to go to college. We're sending youngsters to college. We understand that education is the key, and we're trying to make better Americans. And to play it at Notre Dame with Notre Dame in Kansas is just unbelievable.
All right, Dick.
All right, thanks, Craig. A kickoff down to Mitch Bowles and Kansas looking for something special. Gets to about the 18-yard line against Notre Dame. The Irish have scored 13 points in 17 seconds. Craig?
Well, Coach, your autobiography is coming out. Never before, never again. How did you install not only the spirit but the grit in your players that they've remained so close after all these years?
Well, I think one thing that helped us most, since 41, we've heard America's greatest coaches. We carry a little something back from every coaching clinic, every coach. I told the players the other day that we have a Notre Dame greeting at Grambling from the time when Leahy was here. It's a matter of wanting to do and working with your players and the tradition. And these guys who really played for us, they go in the league, the other kids see it, and they want to play. And this is what you got to do. You got to sell wanting to be the best.
Put perspective on that great career, Coach Robinson took over 1941, the same year that Frank Leahy took over here at Notre Dame.
All right, Craig, and Coach Robinson produced over 200 players that starred in the National Football League. 408 wins. He broke Bear Bryant's record 12 years ago. Screen pass to Winbush and should get some yardage. He's hit from behind, fumbles again, and Notre Dame has recovered. Antoine Jones at the 32-yard line. Oh, my.
Yeah, you know, Terry Allen, the head coach of Kansas, said this game could fall a couple different ways, and one we could get blown out, and it looks like that right now. And David Winbush, who was such a solid performer for the Jayhawks a year ago, his second fumble. Again, a hustling defensive play. Jason Ching, number 99, first rushes the passer on the screen, then hustles down. And again, I think it was just another helmet. And then Antoine Jones in the right place at the right time. This looked like it should have been a first down, and boy, that's what Kansas needed more than anything right now, is just a first down.
Deke Cooper forced the fumble. Antoine Jones recovered. And the Irish set up at the Jayhawk 32 with a 13-0 lead, and we still have over 10 minutes left in the opening quarter. Jackson on the option. He keeps and pays the price. Back at the 31-yard line, a gain of 1.
Well, one of the things
made the tackle.
Yeah, from the Irish, you'll see, although they did get that ball pitched, Kevin Rogers, the coordinator, really wants the Irish to get the ball to the perimeter of the defense and the option play. And it really, in college football, the big plays really do come in the perimeter. If you get that ball pitched and have that running back in pretty good shape there, you have a chance of those 40, 50-yard kind of runs.
3 turnovers by the Jayhawks here early in the opening quarter, and they trail 13-0. And 9 to Jackson in the Irish. Quick throw complete to Javon Hunter, and he's tackled at the 27-yard line, a short gain of about 4.
Javon Hunter's father played for Eddie Robinson, didn't he? Had a neat nickname.
Big Game
Big Game.
Hunter.
Yeah, I really like that nickname.
Played with the Lions, defensive back. And Hunter, when all kids have their low days when they go off to college and they say, I don't know, I think I'm going to come home. And Big Game Hunter said, no, you're not, son. You're staying right there at Notre Dame.
Yeah, parents usually keep them there, don't they?
Yeah. At the 26-yard line, call it 3rd down and 4.
Kansas needs a turnover badly.
Well, stop at least with good speed. And Fisher behind Jackson on 3rd and 4. Pumps, throws in the flat. Open was Fisher, but the pass just off his fingertips. And that'll bring up 4th.
Well, it looked like Fisher stopped, actually. I think Jarious Jackson was anticipating Fisher continuing to run that route, and Fisher looked like he was stopping. Again, this was a secondary receiver for Jarious Jackson. Real good protection. That's a big question mark for Bob Davies' offensive line. Could they hold up? Ball was thrown a little bit high.
Well, Jim Sampson comes on to try a 43-yard field goal. Kicked 148 last year, his longest. That was against Army. Low snap. Kick is up. Plenty of distance. No good. So Sampson, a missed extra point, and now a missed field goal from 43, and the Jayhawks have not been punished as much as they might have been with 3 early turnovers. It's 13-0. Zach Wagner, the senior from Plant City, Missouri, the quarterback of the Jayhawks, threw for 49% a year ago, 7 touchdowns, 6 intercepted, and was KO'd a couple of times late in the year, a couple of severe concussions, and then another in a off-campus altercation, and his career was in question, but did receive medical release after the missed field goal. And before the snap, it appeared that Andy Wisney had charged. Was he drawn offside by Kansas?
Well, Terry Allen didn't really know what to expect from Zach Wagner, you know, with all the concussions. And Wagner told us, hey, I'm 1 play away from having my career be over. So they aggressively recruited Dylan Smith.
Offside. Defense. 5-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Repeat the down.
James McConaughey and all Big East crew here working this opening game.
I'm just going to finish up a thought. Dylan Smith, the quarterback that we'll see for the Jayhawks as well.
Dylan Smith from Santa Monica City College, where he threw for some 44 touchdowns in 2 years. Here's Winbush. And He's out across the 35 to the 37 and close to a first down. Jason Gully with a good block in front of the ball carrier. There's Dylan Smith. He's had to really do a hurry-up study. He arrived on the Kansas campus only 3 weeks ago and threw the ball so much he had a little arm weary this past week.
How about his last game he played in that JC All-American Bowl game? You know, kind of a low-scoring affair, 71-67, wasn't it?
Yeah, kind of tough. You score 67 and you lose a bowl game. El Camino, California championship. It is second down and short. Wagner in trouble. Throws the ball.
Isn't that intentional grounding?
I see no flag.
Nope. Say Antoine Jones, who is subbing for Anthony Weaver. Antoine Jones, number 85 for the Irish. That's 2 or 3 times he's been able to put some pressure on Zach Wagner.
Jones, senior in art studies, a big guy at 290, and yet in high school ran the 100 meters. So it gives you an idea how these conditioned athletes with such size and yet still with so much quickness and speed. Third down 1.
Important down here for Kansas.
Mitch Bowles, the running back, and that's Norris, the fullback, in motion.
Ooh, what a hit at the line of scrimmage, no gain. Well, the last short yardage play, they fumbled. This time, Ronnie Nix, number 34, who hits players so hard, sometimes he knocks himself out. That inside linebacker. I mean, just Ronnie Nix has a chance to be a difference maker for the Irish on defense this year. Looked like it was going to be a little bit of a hole there for Bowles to pick up the first down, but no, Ronnie Nix rejects him.
Nix, the senior from Kilgore, Texas. As a freshman, was a fullback and safety, and he's grown and now moves into that starting linebacking position. Joey Calfanio is the punter for Kansas. Kicked at Sacramento City College last year. This is Joey Getherall, the little guy from Hacienda Heights, California, who excited fans all last year. Refuses the fair catch, takes it out across the 35-yard line. A 44-yard punt. 15 on the Getherall return.
Well, Dick, every coach worries about a first game turnovers, the mistakes that kill you yourselves. That was the short yardage play. Winbush fumbles. They turn it to a touchdown. Then DEVERON Harper reads the 3-step drop, jumps on it. A screen play that looks like it's going to go for some pretty good yardage. D. Cooper forces the fumble, and Antoine Jones makes recovery, and that's when we have a 13-0 ball game. But coaches fear the self-destruction in first ball games.
Yeah, it is the opening game nightmare, recurring nightmare, and for Terry Allen, perhaps the only hope he gets out of this start is that he's only down by 13. Yep. Joey Goodspeed, it's Tony Dreyer now, and Driver in there for the first time, the junior from Louisville, Male High School. As he moves back to his favorite position. He was a freshman tailback. Then Bob Davey needed help at safety. Was a solid contributor in the back four for the Irish last year, and now back to running back. Reminder to go in depth on the Fighting Irish by logging on to MSNBCSports.com. A special section, NBC's Notre Dame Central, features expert analysis. Pat Hayden will be with you. Player profiles, video game highlights, audio interviews, key players after the game, plus vote for the Irish MVP this season. MSNBCSports.com. Jackson underneath to the tight end O'Leary, and he's out close to the 50-yard line, and a first down. O'Leary with his first catch of the season, the senior from Westlake, Ohio, 13 on the play.
The Irish will use a lot of two tight end formations. They open the game by throwing the ball to Jabari Holloway. They come back and throw later in the half to Dan O'Leary. They're going to use those tight ends here and here outside. Again, generally that tight end is a quarterback's favorite target after you can't find that wide receiver. Generally the secondary guy, and he kind of hovers over the middle, makes a nice catch.
First down at the Irish 49. 6 minutes left in the opening quarter, 13-0 Notre Dame. And here's Driver doing just that for about 5 to the Kansas 46, where Jarious Lomax, number 51, junior from Kansas City, Kansas, makes the tackle.
Jabari Holloway, number 87, they have a wham block. They send him in motion. He kind of traps down on the first face he sees. It's Carl Neesmith, the strong safety, that came in on that play. But you mentioned Jarious Lomax, number 51. They're expecting real good things, some tremendous speed. He is the third fastest player on the entire Jayhawk team.
He's 6'2" and 230. Tom Lipinski in at fullback with Driver at tailback. And Getherall, the little wide receiver, in motion. Here comes the option. And Jackson keeps it, and the flag goes down. Jackson tackled at the 40 by Andrew LeClaire. Number 55, the son of the College Football Hall of Famer Jim LeClair, played at North Dakota and in the NFL for some 12 years with the Cincinnati Bengals. Penalty against the Irish. There's LeClair. He's a 6'6" and 235 from Mayville, North Dakota.
And they go crackback block on the offense. 15-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Repeat the down.
A hazard of the option. Those wide receivers cracking back. Have a moment. Talked about Jim LeClair and Andrew LeClair. Quite a visit for this young guy to come back here to play Notre Dame and go to the Hall of Fame here in South Bend. And check out to make sure Dad's really in there. Isn't that what our kids do? And there he is as he looks at the.
It was yesterday, right?
The plaque. His father, Jim LeClair. So some trip for this young man. Solid against the run is Andrew LeClair. After the 15-yard penalty, the screen is to Driver. Gets a block to the 50, and down he goes with a fumble. Was there a flag? Yes, I think the tackle was illegal. I think they got him with a face mask, Neesmith, that forced the play, but I think that Kansas is going to be penalized.
I tell you, you have to like the play, though, of Carl Neesmith. Even though they called the face mask, yeah, it's an easy call. They're hoping that Carl Neesmith, from that strong and free safety position, he'll play both, can make a lot of stops. But that was an easy call, kind of a violent face mask.
He didn't let go, did he? And so the 15-yard penalty marked off against Kansas from the spot of the foul, the 48-yard line. Now, Neesmith, he's got a lot to learn, and that'll be one of those things. You don't tackle up there. You get him someplace else. His position has been yards from where it occurred.
Personal foul, grabbing the face mask on the defense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
Basically, at Butler County Community College, he was a wide receiver, led his team of 30 catches and a kick returner, 3 touchdowns with kick returns, but they moved him to safety, and he's being coached on the field by Greg Erb.
Yeah, the free safety now. Greg Erb actually moves over to strong safety, and he is, every time they break the huddle, he is communicating with Carl Neesmith to tell him where to line up and where the checks are.
He's a big hitter, and he's going to be a great player. He's just learning on the job. Driver. That was Neesmith leading the defensive charge. Also in on the play was Justin Sands, the freshman.
And Justin Sands, number 61 for Kansas. You know, they don't get athletes like this too often there. I mean, can really be a dominant player. He's in here, number 61, Justin Sands. And redshirt freshman, you know, he's got coaches arguing him. The offensive coaches want him to play offensive tackle. The defensive coaches want him to be a defensive end. But, you know, 6'7", 285 pounds.
Jackson. Driver inside the 20, and the Irish have another first down at the 19. Tony Driver.
Well, he came to Notre Dame when he was recruited. He's a junior now to be a running back. He was a sensational high school running back in Kentucky. And, you know, backed up Audrey Denson his freshman year, played some strong safety a year ago, and was a little discouraged, disappointed, left campus for a while, came back and had those 2 interceptions against Purdue a year ago, but he's getting his, well, it's his dream come true. He wants to play running back.
Good speed back at fullback, Driver at tailback, first down. Double tight ends, and it's Driver again, piling his way down to the 15-yard line and short yardage. The concern, you mentioned Audrey Denson, the career rushing leader in Notre Dame history, graduating this past year. Bob Davies' concern was not only the loss of Denson, but the fact that Denson gave them such a wonderful quality, and that is he didn't cough up the football.
Yeah. And as we see in this ball game, that is absolutely critical. Nothing beats your team faster than turnovers. Now, David Winbush is generally not a fumbler for Kansas, so it's been unusual for him today.
Well, you asked Driver what he learned from Denson. He said, you got to keep that ball up high, not let it drag low. 2nd and 6.
Good tackle.
And Driver again, short yardage, and it's Neesmith, and indeed showing that he can come up and lay a pretty good leather on that ball carrier.
Absolutely. He is playing free safety, but he plays it a lot like a linebacker. You know, Ardell Wiegand, the defensive coordinator, was kind of saying, hey, this is the guy that we want to come up and make some plays. And indeed, he's doing that.
Now 3rd down and 4, Notre Dame with a 13-0 lead, 2.5 remaining in this opening quarter. The Irish, dominant, have not allowed a first down to Kansas. One first down to Kansas in their opening series. And here comes Jackson on the roll. Runner pass, stops, throws back wide open. O'Leary, and Dan O'Leary fighting his way to the 1-yard line.
Yeah, Bob Davie thinks it should have been a touchdown. Maybe if O'Leary cuts out to the corner of the end zone, he makes, but wonderful call by Kevin Rogers. They said they wanted some plays. All the action going this way. You're going to see him drag across the field. Everything's going to his right, looks back. Well-designed play. I think maybe he cuts out here, he scores.
Tim Bowers able to make the tackle and save the touchdown.
Yeah, good hustling play by Tim Bowers. But again, we are seeing a different kind of Notre Dame offense than we did certainly a year ago, and head coach is trying to play referee.
Well, first and goal, Notre Dame with a 13-0 lead and 4 shots from the 1-yard line. That power formation. And the give to Driver, and he doesn't get in. He's knocked back into the backfield with a good surge from Marcus Rogers, who's submarine number 8, the sophomore linebacker from Dallas.
Marcus Rogers is a guy they rotate in, is one of 3 inside linebackers. You're going to see a real good charge. The defensive linemen do their job, get underneath the offensive lineman. Marcus Rogers gets the first hit, and then some of his teammates finish him off. That's good, very good team defense.
11th play of the drive for the Irish. 2nd and goal. Driver, good speed, and Fisher in that power formation. Driver again dives into the end zone. Touchdown, Notre Dame.
Well, there is a flag down in the field, Dick, in the back of the end zone.
And here's the call. Personal foul, Kansas, a dead ball foul. Terry Allen doesn't like to see that any more than he's enjoying what shows up on the scoreboard now. 19-0 Notre Dame.
Dead ball, personal foul on the defense. Half the distance to the goal, the penalty.
On the kickoff.
I'm a bit surprised they're not going for a 2-point play. You know, they missed one extra point already.
That was an impressive drive, 64 yards and 11 plays for the Irish. Sanson trying to get his radar tuned, has missed his last 2 kicks, an extra point and a 43-yard field goal attempt. Good snap, and the kick is good.
The kick is good. Notre Dame 20
Good 20-0. Again, power football by Notre Dame. He got a chance to leap because there wasn't a lot of penetration. Tony Driver gets into the end zone for his first touchdown.
A minute remaining, opening quarter, 20-0 Notre Dame. Back at Notre Dame, final minute, opening quarter. The Irish pounding out a 20-0 lead. We should mention Kansas coach Terry Allen, a game disciplined. Deion Johnson, a starting defensive end, and Sean McDermott made the trip but will not play today. The concern for Kansas is that they don't have the depth, that they've got 22 pretty solid starters this year. I think Terry Allen likes that part.
And I would have thought in special teams that Kansas had an advantage. Now they got a kickoff return. They've been, in his career, been very good in the return game, both punts and kicks. Need one right now.
Sanson to kick it off to Neesmith and number 20 Bulls. And it is Neesmith 1 yard deep. And he powers his way out to the 26-yard line. A bit hesitant, but you could see a couple of times during that return where when he puts on full juice, he's going to be tough. Check out Notre Dame's official athletic department website at www.und.com. Live in-game statistics, transcripts of Bob Davie press conferences, all the inside information on football and other Irish sports at www.und.com.
You've been spending a lot of time in cyberspace.
I love .com.
Yeah.
Grant Irons back in for the Irish. Play action and into the flat, incomplete. Juggling attempt by Henri Childs. Childs whose father played in the NFL. Henry, a tight end at Kansas State, then with New Orleans, Rams, and Green Bay.
Looks like that bubble play you see so much from Purdue. You get a guy out there in kind of the wing and just let him make it. It's almost like a run. Now, Andre Childs is the guy that's done a little bit of everything for Kansas last year. Played halfback, tight end, special teams, and third-team quarterback, and he is one of their better receivers out of the backfield.
8 catches last year as a freshman. Winbush. He's got a lot of quickness and darts out across the 35-yard line, very close to a first down. Appears to be a half-yard short.
But Winbush said something to us the other day, Dick, that I like to hear from running backs. He says, I really don't like to get hit. It's a very good attribute. Very good attribute.
And if you can accomplish just that as a goal, you could be a terrific player. Final play perhaps of this first quarter, and it's Wagner on the snake, and he fumbled the ball, but though the Irish recovered, the play will not count. It appeared Kansas had jumped offside or had moved prior to the snap.
The self-inflicted wounds that Terry Allen was talking to us about this week. Turnover.
Dead ball. False start. On the offense. 5-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Repeat the down.
In a way, though, that's a break for Allen because Wagner had fumbled and the Irish had recovered.
Well, they have struggled in short yardage plays today. I'm talking about Kansas. They had a fumble on 3rd and 1 when Winbush fumbled. He fumbled again on a 3rd and 1. He was stopped, and then a false start on that second 3rd and 1. So 3 3rd and 1s they've not converted.
Appeared that he ran into his own blocker, Bob Schmidt. That knocked the ball free. That's the end of the opening quarter here at Notre Dame Stadium. 80,000 see the Irish jump out to a 20-0 lead, and we'll return after these messages from your local station. The second Eddie Robinson Classic. Last year it was Nebraska defeating Louisiana Tech, and such a worthy cause, and the true spirit of the man Robinson, money going to scholarship. And there's Danny Manning, one of the many KU fans and alums here to cheer on the Jayhawks.
Well, wouldn't you love to have him down by the end zone, throw the ball high?
And some other famous alums from University of Kansas. Sayers, of course, involved.
Pretty good one, yeah.
In the coin toss. Dean Smith isn't on that list.
Yeah.
And Clyde Lavellette. Quick throw, complete. No, not complete. That's not a fumble. No contact. Control by Eric Patterson from Long Beach, California, as he was drilled just as he received the ball.
And one of the things the Irish need is some pressure out of this man, number 44, Grant Irons. They moved him from linebacker to a defensive end in that three-point stance, and that's first 3 steps on what they need, some real acceleration out of Grant Irons. Good play there by Irons.
That peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, that'll get you down on that defensive line, won't it?
Well, he eats 4 peanut butter jelly sandwiches every night to keep
before he
that
went
weight
to bed.
up. Yeah.
And he said, then I wake up hungry.
I saw you with that peanut butter and jelly last night.
Well done. You caught me again. Here comes Deverall. Can they catch him? Yes, at the 35-yard line. The Irish will begin there with a 20-0 lead, a 43-yard punt, 8 on the return. The tackle by Tyrus Fontenot of Kansas. A reminder, fans, tonight at 8 Eastern and Pacific time, gymnastics returns to NBC in prime time for coverage of the U.S. National Gymnastics Championships. National champion Kristen Maloney and Vanessa Atler headline the field as they vie for America's championship on the road to the Olympic Games in Sydney. U.S. National Championships tonight at 8 Eastern and Pacific, only on NBC. And a new quarterback for the Irish, number 3, Arnaz Battle, the sophomore from Shreveport, Louisiana. They want to get him some serious end-game duty in support of Jackson. And on the toss to Tony Fisher, 49-yard line. He steps out of bounds. Well timed, the toss by Battle.
Absolutely, and this is by design. They want Arnaz Battle to play. Well, the game is not necessarily on the line right now with a 20-0 lead, but they wanted him with some real game actions early in the year. And the reason is, if you look at the quarterback's numbers from the USC game a year ago, they went down with Jarious Jackson went down with an injury the week before. Their backup quarterbacks did not play well, and Bob Davie was convinced that we have to get Arnaz Battle some experience early in the year.
7 for 22 and 4 interceptions against the Trojans out in Los Angeles. Play action by Battle, and he wants to go long. And does for Javon Hunter, incomplete at the 5-yard fumble. Down on the goal line, and there's a penalty flag thrown against Andrew Davison.
That looked like pretty good coverage by Davison to me. There was some bumping going on, but once he had his head turned, it looked like to me, Dick.
Terry Allen with that smile that says, I can't believe a 15-yard penalty on the interference against Kansas.
Now, Javon Hunter, they are hoping, see, he has his head turned and looking for the ball. This is not pass interference. It's a good defensive play. He's got the right to the ball. No.
On the defense.
I'm sorry.
15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage.
That's a good defensive play.
Yeah, it's a slight bump there as he went up for it, but he was playing the ball, not the receiver.
Where's number 24 in honor of Charles Woodson, whom he has a high regard for? He used to wear number 2.
Woodson, who Irish fans saw as the great player at the University of Michigan, now with the Oakland Raiders. So the first down for Notre Dame on a 20-0 lead. They're at the Kansas 37. Fisher, and the former Ohio Player of the Year, fights forward to the 33-yard line. John Williams, the nose tackle, there first from Oklahoma City, the senior.
I'll tell you one thing for Kansas fans, you know, a year ago they were just awful stopping the run. They ranked 107th in stopping the run out of 112 Division 1A teams. Now they have done a pretty good job of stopping those inside runs, in particular by the Irish. Terry Allen, it's one of his major concerns by that defense. Can we stop the run?
There it is. Last year, only 6 teams with a worse record in defending the run in NCAA 1A play. There's Battle again on the option. Gives to Fisher on the toss, and Fisher to the 26-yard line, right at the yardsticks. A possible first down. Darius Lomax leading the defensive charge for Kansas.
Well, we've seen 2 pitches by Arnaz Battle. Jarious Jackson wasn't able to do that because they took the pitch man away so well. Kansas did. 2 pitches, and a nice one there on his left hand. And talking to Kevin Rogers yesterday, the offensive coordinator said, you know, we had our quarterbacks practice their pitch about maybe 1,000 times a week with either hand.
Of course, the fear of anyone running that option offense is that you're going to leave some balls on the ground.
But they're still really a power team. You know, they only run maybe 7-10 option plays a game out of, what, 75 plays?
Good speed, and Fisher behind Battle, and it's a flag down. No, fake to Fisher, and the give on the reverse as Joey Getherall comes around to take the handoff, and he gets only to the 27-yard line, a loss of a yard.
Well, he had Algie all over him. Algie Atkinson, that defensive outside linebacker, number 98. Very disciplined play there by Algie.
Yeah, I heard you practicing that in your room last night, that Algie all over him number.
Just think if it were a wet day, rainy day.
Oh, you'd have a field day, wouldn't you? Atkinson 6'5".
On the defense, 5-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Repeat the down.
There's Kevin Rogers, comes from Syracuse, where he was very successful as their coordinator, and he said, what's it like to be at Notre Dame? Just felt the shivers going through him and the goosebumps. He said, look through the all-time assistant coaches at Notre Dame, and look who I'm next to, Knute Rockne. Is that any good? He did look in a hurry, didn't he? First down for Notre Dame, and 5 after the penalty. Battle. A little yardage there as Algie Atkinson, the sophomore, and Greg Erb, the senior from Lawrence, make the stop.
Well, Bob Davie had some of his own questions. Terry Allen has hit, but for Bob Davie, the offensive line, you know, had 4 new offensive starters in the offensive line. Could they protect my quarterback? Could they open up some holes for my running backs? Well, thus far in the first half, I think he has to be pleased at least with the offensive line, how they've played to protect the quarterback in particular. But you see, Jordan Black didn't play at all, and yet Jordan Black, number 78, they believe is going to have a big-time career for the Irish.
Currently, he's on the sidelines, and Kurt Voller, 75, playing left tackle. The throw by Battle is through the end zone, incomplete. Looking for Bobby Brown, the senior from Lauderhill, Florida. Dion Rayford was the man applying pressure on Arnaz Battle's throw.
Really a good rush by Dion Rayford, number 41, right here through the middle. And just kind of a quick inside stunt, and then good coverage there really on the outside by Davison, both Davison and Neesmith.
Abdul Rahim also in on the cover. 3rd down and 4. Fisher and Goodspeed split behind Battle. Incomplete and almost intercepted by Marcus Rogers.
Looked like he was trying to hit Javen Hunter coming crossing the middle, but I thought maybe he thought Hunter was going to stop.
That's a disappointing trip for Battle. He had 1st and 5, able to pick up only a yard in 3 tries.
There's Hunter, who is open. And they believe Javen Hunter is going to push Bobby Brown at that split end position.
37-yard attempt by Jim Sanson. He missed earlier from 43. On the left hash. Blocked by Kansas. It appeared to be Justin Sands, the freshman, picked up by the Jayhawks, and then they fall on it out at about the 23-yard line. A good play by that 6'7" freshman.
Yeah, obviously you put your tall guys inside. He is their tallest defensive player, and he got a pretty good leap on him too. So Justin Sands right in the interior, right in here.
And he used those long arms well. It remains 20-0 Notre Dame. And we welcome you back to Northern Indiana on the beautiful campus here at Notre Dame, where the Irish in their opener leading Kansas 20-0. Could be more, but Jim Sanson has had 1 field goal block from 37 and missed from 43 yards. Well, the Notre Dame Irish still waiting for a word from the NCAA as to whether there'll be sanctions imposed against Notre Dame for an infraction way back, 17 months ago. It takes a while to get the official word involving the relationship of a female booster giving gifts to players. Still no decision from the NCAA now in Indianapolis, their headquarters. And a quick move, and outside goes Kansas's Mitch Bowles, and good yardage for Bowles, and 1st down.
And Dick, I think that's the frustrating thing for Notre Dame, is how long it has taken, because they are for the NCAA to render their decision. There's some reports out that may be a major infraction, and perhaps if that were the case, maybe in probation. Notre Dame has never been on probation.
Female booster is in jail. She
got a college degree, I saw, in jail.
Stole money and helped the players to have a good time. It is Mitch Bowles and hit by Ronnie Nix after short yardage.
Excuse me, Dick. Ronnie Nix, number 34. His health, I think, is one of the keys for Notre Dame's defense this year. This is a guy that's been around for a while. He's a senior at Notre Dame. A couple of years ago, he had caused a couple fumbles against Michigan. But as we said earlier, he attacks so hard sometimes he hurts himself on these tackles.
6 feet and 245 is Nix. 2nd down and 8. The spread formation, and out of the shotgun is Wegner. Throws in the flat, complete to Winbush. And Winbush wrapped up by DEVERON Harper. Harper, in case you joined us late, stole a pass early, deep in Kansas territory, and returned it 23 yards for a touchdown. His first career interception now in his senior year. Brother Dwayne, a long-time outstanding cornerback in the NFL.
And here's Ronnie Nix, number 34. Again, all of their starting linebackers this year have some speed. Nix was a high school safety. Rocky Boyman was a high school safety. Anthony Dedman was a tailback in high school. A lot more speed on the defensive side of the ball.
3rd down and 2. Jayhawks with only 2 first downs in the game. Winbush with some running room, able to spin away from Deke Cooper and fall forward the 1st down at the 47-yard line.
It was a pretty good tackle by Deke Cooper, because David Winbush is awfully good in the open field. You'd love to see that guy in the open field. Deke Cooper, so he hurt his hand there, but the all-out blitz, good read by Wegner, dumps the ball off to Winbush. Again, they treat those passes almost like runs, but well stopped by Deke Cooper.
Winbush in the sophomore season just a few yards shy of 1,000. Wegner has to fall on his own error back at the 43-yard line. Mitch Bowles back there for the handoff that did not arrive. Well, the Irish bringing in substitutes on every play, trying to keep fresh players on this very hot, humid, it's going to be an exhausting game on both sides.
No, Dick, I think Kansas needs to take some shots. It looks like Notre Dame's defensive backs are squatting. They're jumping those short routes when they see the three-step drop. You know, kind of a pump fake, kind of a stop-and-go kind of route might gain you some big yardage.
Number 8, Termaine Fulton on the near side is the deep threat for Kansas. Well, here's a short pass to the tight end, David Hurst, and Hurst across the 50 to the Irish 49. That'll be shy of the first down by a good 5-6 yards.
You know, he looked like he was the primary receiver. Ordinarily, those tight ends are second and third receivers. Good inside pressure by the Irish, but he is a big target, 245 pounds, 6'3".
Austin, Texas. He's their most athletic tight end.
He's the receiving tight end. Gully's more of the blocker.
3rd down and 6 for Kansas. Trailing 20-0. 9 minutes, 15 seconds left here in the first half. Empty backfield, and the whistle sounds.
You know, there's a Johnny Sanders, number 5, was blitzing. As soon as the empty backfield comes up, boy, the Irish defense adjusts, and they're going to bring a corner or a safety.
That ball, delay of the game on the offense. 5-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Repeat the down.
And so the 5 yards marked off back to the Jayhawk 46-yard line. It'll be 3rd down and 11.
That is great. Yes, as soon as they see the empty backfield, you're going to see a Johnny Sanders here. He's blitzing, and the safety comes up here to cover the tight end. I've seen it 3 or 4 times. Each time Notre Dame has blitzed.
Beardwagner took a little extra time because he saw that movement defensively. It cost Kansas 5. Triple left, and only Wagner in the shotgun, and he's going to go long this time. Has a man downfield, incomplete, as Mitch Bowles had beaten his man, Clifford Jefferson.
Mitch Bowles is one of those big-time players and big play guys for Kansas. Only 93 touches a year ago, yet 5 touchdowns. They use him a lot as a wide receiver here, matched up against Clifford Jefferson, the corner, and he was open.
So Joey Pelfanio kicked 42.3-yard average, number 7 in JC ranks a year ago. Joey Getherall solo back at the Irish 15. 10 men on the line of scrimmage for Notre Dame. Pelfanio, good high booming kick. Getherall lets it fly, and it goes halfway into the end zone. 54 minus the 20. Irish, when we return, will be at their own 20-yard line after the touchback. 8:42 remaining in the opening half. Well, at the recreation building here on campus, a good luck rub of the nose of the bronze of Newt Rockne. Rockne and Kansas. There is a connection, right, Craig?
Yes, there is. Obviously, the football legend of Newt Rockne, very famous here in South Bend, where he is buried. But a memorial in the middle of a farmer's field in Bazor, Kansas, stands tribute to the most famous coach who ever lived. It was in the cornfield here in 1931, a few months after Newt Rockne won his 6th national championship, that he was visiting his former coach and mentor, Jesse Harper, when his plane en route from Kansas City to California went down in the cornfield. Dick?
All right, Craig. In fact, he was working on a basketball and football commitment with Kansas and Fog Allen out in Lawrence.
Remember, 1914, actually, Jesse Harper recommended him to fill a head coaching position at Kansas.
Could have been the legendary coach of the Jayhawks. Well, in the house that Rockne built, 8:42 left in this opening half. And the Irish start from the 20-yard line and a 20-0 lead against Kansas. And they give to Tony Driver. And Driver pulled down after a yard or two as Algie Atkinson and Justin Sands used the long arms of the defensive law.
I really like this Justin Sands. You know, Arnell Wiegand, the defensive coordinator, really was raving about this guy. Saying, I'm going to have to fight the offensive coaches. They want to make him an offensive tackle, but they have him on defense now, and he's filling in for Deion Johnson. And this guy, he blocked a field goal. He's got very good speed, smart guy, pre-med major.
2nd down and 9. On the roll, Jackson. And the throw is ruled complete out at the 30-yard line. Rakai Nelson with a nice catch, the senior from Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. Had 11 last year, 2 for touchdowns.
Well, here he is. He makes the hard catches. Did it last year, some big timely catches a year ago for the Irish. I don't think he trapped that ball. He looked like he got his hands underneath that.
Chad Colner over to cover. Nelson, whose major is economics. It is shy of the first down by just inches. Third down coming up.
You know, you look at Rakai Nelson and Bobby Brown, the good receivers, but they haven't really had a home run hitter here really since I think the Rocket played wide receiver for the Irish, and they need that element.
Yeah, they're hoping Javen Hunter will fill that role, the sophomore from the Detroit area. And Jarious Jackson going to call time. 7:13 mark of this second quarter. He was pointing up at the play clock as if to say I was never going to get it off in time.
Flag at midfield. Good ball. Delay the game. On the offense, 5-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Repeat the down.
Bob Davey pointing out as if to say I thought he was calling time, but the 5-yard penalty imposed. Well, both quarterbacks using wristbands, huh, Pat?
Yeah, for the first time, Jarious Jackson, 70 plays on his wristband. They kind of signal in a number. He looks down at that and calls it 1 through 30 on one wrist and 31 through 70 on the other.
And the Kansas quarterback, Wegner, how many does he have?
Twice as many. What's that?
I think it's
140. You're right, yeah. Goes all the way up to his elbows, I think. There he is. It's a little smaller print, actually. A little smaller font, if you will.
Jackson scrambling in big trouble, and down he goes at the 6-yard line as Dion Rayford makes the big play for Kansas. Neesmith was in there as well.
You know, that didn't look right. All the backs went to the right. Jarious Jackson went to his left unprotected, and it didn't really look like a bootleg. There was some confusion. You see Jordan Black kind of stops, and once again it's Neesmith and Dion Rayford, who's had a pretty good first half.
Well, that's a bright spot in this entire first half for Kansas. Dion Rayford with the sack of Jackson.
And Kansas feels they can block a punt today. I believe this is the first attempt. Yeah, Kansas believes they can get after this punter and block one.
The freshman Joey Hilbold, and his first punt for Notre Dame is short end over end, taken by Henri Childs, and Childs to the 36-yard line, and this is the best start for the Kansas team the entire opening half at the Notre Dame 36-yard line. Dion Rayford has given the Jayhawk fans something to cheer about. It's 20-0 Notre Dame. Dick Enberg with Pat Hayden, Craig Sager. Welcome back to Notre Dame. The Irish taking advantage of early errors by Kansas. A couple of fumbles and pass interception for a touchdown by DEVERON HARPER to give the Irish a 20-0 lead. But now it's Kansas in Notre Dame territory at the 36-yard line. Zach Wegner with a single back Winbush. Rolls, pumps, looks long, throws toward the end zone, and well covered was Michael Chandler, and Wegner really crushed as he threw the ball.
Well, and his parents are happy to see Zach Wegner get up. The guy who didn't play in the last couple of ball games a year ago because he had some concussions, consecutive concussions in those ball games. And you're going to see if you're going to take a shot here right from the backside, right after he gets rid of the ball. It's Grant Irons putting pressure on him. You know, the Kansas defense has played pretty doggone well. They've only given up 124 yards. It's time for this Jayhawk offense to make something happen.
Harrison Hill wide to the left with Bowles in the slot. Two receivers to the right, and then they give to Winbush up the middle. Oh, he can stop and start, give you change, and drives to the 19-yard line and a first down. David Winbush.
And did you see the way he secured that ball when he got into traffic? Now, this is what you do when you spread a defense out sometimes. You know, you spread it out, and then you pop a little hole through here. Again, the stopping and starting, and we talked about Barry Sanders, a good block on the outside, and then he secures the ball with both hands after suffering 2 fumbles today.
Mitch Bowles, the other running back, was set out in the slot, came back to pick off a linebacker and help Winbush.
Good opportunity. You know, Bob Davey was yelling at his team. He felt that they lost maybe their focus and their momentum.
17 yards on that carry by Winbush. First down Kansas, their deepest penetration in the game. Winbush again off tackle, and he's inside the Irish 15-yard line, and a gain of 5 more.
Bill Salmon, the offensive coordinator of the Jayhawks, was telling us this week, we want Winbush to carry the ball, hand the ball off to him about 20-plus times, and then maybe you mix in 3 or 4 more catches. So, 23 to 30 times, and you have a chance to stay in ball games and win some.
46 yards rushing for Winbush in this opening half as 42-year-old Terry Allen looks on as his team breaks huddle 6 The ball at the 14-yard line, 2nd down and 5. Winbush again. And what a nice move, even though he's tackled for no gain by Ronnie Nix. Nix having a solid game at his new spot, a starting linebacker. We invite you to stay with us at the half. The Sun America halftime report. Hannah Storm will be on hand with scores and highlights, as well as a report from the World Track and Field Championships in Seville, Spain. That's all coming up at halftime. 3rd and 5.
And a great opportunity here for Kansas. Receivers, make sure you get at least 6 yards on your route.
Hill to the right. Fulton.
Get a blitz.
And Chandler to the left. And the quick throw on the fade. Chandler, touchdown, Kansas. Michael Chandler, the senior who didn't think he'd be playing football this year. In fact, lucky that he's even alive, with the first score for the Jayhawks here in 1999.
And what a great read by Wegner, great throw, and then the adjustment by Michael Chandler. It was the empty backfield. He knew he was going to get the blitz. Indeed, Deke Cooper, the free safety, did blitz. Offensive line held their ground. Wegner was able to get the ball over the top, and a real good adjustment by Michael Chandler. Well done.
Joe Garcia.
Junior place kicker Joe Garcia, he's been solid in his previous 2 years with Kansas. And the kick is up, and it is no good.
Ouch.
So 36 yards and 5 plays for Kansas. Wegner to Chandler for the first Jayhawk score.
And watch how he adjusted this ball off that blitz. Empty backfield, good game planning there by Kansas. And what you like about Wegner, he threw the ball up in the air to allow Michael Chandler the time to adjust to it.
Terry Allen, his team is back in the game with just under 4 minutes left in the opening half. It's 20-6. 5 plays, 36 yards, 6 points for the Jayhawks.
Well, Dick, remember we said when Kansas went to that empty backfield, Notre Dame likes to counter with the blitz. That's just what happens. But then you get one-on-one coverage, and it was a wonderful read. The center, Chris Enneking, does a good job of picking up the blitzing safety, D. Cooper. And then I thought just the air, giving them a chance to run under it. It was a well-designed play. They knew what they were going to get, and they responded.
And there's the man with the touchdown reception, Michael Chandler, who was awakened back in April in his apartment in Lawrence, and by 3 masked men, shot through the groin, and able to survive that and complete his senior year as one of their valued wide receivers.
Next time I think that root canal hurts, I'll think of Michael.
He's a pretty tough guy in many ways. Inspirational force on this Kansas team, and down it comes to Joey Getherall, and Getherall with good blocking in front, but one man able to fight through all those blocks. Carl Neesmith along with Brandon Weir to make the stop. Weir, number 17 from Olathe, Kansas, a sophomore.
The momentum is clearly on Kansas's side of the ball. 3:41 remaining here in this first half. Now, this is where you find out about your leaders. Jarious Jackson. We mentioned he's the sole captain. He's the kind of guy right now that has to step up. Yeah, total yards. Kansas's defense has done a pretty doggone good job. It's been the turnovers that have led to 13 of the 20 points they've given up.
Fumble by Winbush on the very first possession led to a Jarious Jackson 38-yard scramble for a touchdown, then a pass interception on the next series. Went 23 yards by DEVERON HARPER, and 13-0 before the game had barely started. This is Tony Fisher, the sophomore, out to about the 27-yard line where Kareem High and others make the stop. Lomax in on the play as well.
Notre Dame with all 3 of their timeouts remaining, 3:25 remaining here in this first half. And again, those pit plays signaled in. And we haven't really seen him pitch the ball much on the
we didn't last year either, did we?
Never did. Arnaz Battle did it twice today.
2nd down and a long 5. Quick throw, complete, but hit immediately by Chad Colner was Rakai Nelson. Floats to a first down at the 32.
A good reaction by Chad Colner. Even so, you see a big cushion, he's looking in. As soon as he sees that quarterback take that 3-step drop, he begins to drive.
Close enough for a measurement, Pat.
Chad Colner, interesting guy. Fifth in his family to play major college athletics. His mom and dad were both, his mom was a swimmer.
And dad a wrestler at Iowa.
His mom actually used to babysit Terry Allen. Remember that?
She babysitting for Terry, and as a swimmer herself, perhaps scoring points with a coach there at Iowa City.
You thought about that angle, didn't you? Deborah's his mother.
This is really a very interesting, engaging is a great word. Terry Allen, we visited Lawrence, and he couldn't have been more generous in giving us information, making us feel at home, and arranging for chats with his players. He's very proud of his guys. He says, we're on our way. You know, we're building and building. We're not there yet, but it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, only 42 years old yet. It's 11th year as a head coach. You know, he's averaged 8 games, and he's going to have fun regardless. Averaged 8 wins a season.
Saying, hey, does the clock start when you want it to, or Notre Dame wants to, or does it start after the play's over?
You're on the road.
3rd down and 1. And the sneak ahead by Jackson, and appears he has enough for the 1st down.
And Terry Allen's goal for this year was to make it to a bowl game, and it will not be his first if he gets there. Though. In 1957, his mother, Martha, was pregnant with him as she watched the Rose Bowl, and Iowa defeated Oregon State.
Now they're going to measure.
But he thinks that's a realistic goal for this team, making a bowl, although with this extra game, he has to win 7 games to qualify for a bowl bid.
And he's got 8 winning teams on a very difficult schedule. It is going to be enough for a 1st down. And back to Allen, his relationship with his father, who was a brilliant swimmer himself in his day, a national champion swimmer at Iowa and the head swim coach at Iowa for 16 years. He played football with the great Niall Kinnick at Iowa and had a heart attack. And his son then at Northern Iowa was the president, able to give him CPR. He said he broke 4 ribs, but it kept my dad alive. And there's even more to the story than that. 1st down Irish at the 32. Jackson on the roll, throws well on the run. Oh, what a catch! A fingertip catch by Rakai Nelson.
That's the second difficult catch we've seen this first half from Rakai Nelson. Remember the one he scooped on the other sideline? Good outcut against Quincy Rowe, their best man-for-man cover guy. Ball well thrown out in front of him, away from the defender. Quarterback rolling to his left, gets his shoulders turned.
Caught the back end of the ball for the 1st down out at the 44-yard line. 1:57, plenty of time left in this opening half. The Irish leading Kansas 20-6.
Yeah, Bob Davie has to be worried about his kicking game at this point.
Sanderson struggled and missed an extra point and a couple missed field goals. Going long is Jackson. Incomplete. It was Nelson streaking long and well covered by Chad Colner. Colner, who played safety last year for Kansas, switched to corner. Big guy at 6 feet and 200 from Kansas.
Good straight ahead speed. Remember the coaches were talking about Chad Colner, said he's got real good speed. Not necessarily great change of direction speed, but if you line him up and have him cover a go route like he did right there, he covers pretty well.
Nelson and O'Leary out for Notre Dame as Bob Davie sends in Jabari Holloway and Bobby Brown. No catches yet for the tight end Holloway. Threw to him at the opening series, but dropped the ball. All right, the option. Jackson keeps and gets only a couple to the 47-yard line. Well read by the Jayhawks. John Williams, the nose tackle, he was there first, and time is called by Notre Dame to stop the clock at the 1:28 mark. So we'll step aside here in hot and humid South Bend, Indiana.
Ooh, is it?
1:28 left in the half. The Irish by 14.
Pat Hayden and Dick Enberg back at Notre Dame Stadium. Notre Dame up 20-6. And, you know, Dick, you have covered such incredible athletic events with such grace and command over the last 25 years. And we have some videotape here. Dr. Dick Enberg gets the Pete Rozelle Award enshrined into the Hall of Fame. And Dick, all your colleagues at NBC, all your colleagues in broadcasting, I want to congratulate you and thank you. No listener was ever cheated.
It was a genuine thrill.
Yeah.
And to have my name associated with Pete Rozelle, the great commissioner of the National Football League, truly special.
Oh, my.
Oh, my. And to be with all the Hall of Famers. I mean, just to be able to eavesdrop on what they talked about and the love and the passion and the responsibility they felt for being Hall of Famers. They're telling each other, we're elite. We have to represent our game well. It was a great stuff.
They had to give every rookie in the NFL a test about those Hall of Famers. And congratulations to all of them.
Thanks, Tim. The throw by Jackson to Bobby Brown, and Brown is down to the 36-yard line, and a first down for Notre Dame. Quincy Rowe the tackle, 122, and Notre Dame will spend its second timeout. They have one remaining. Boy, Jackson laid that on the clothesline, didn't he?
Yeah, I tell you, it's really remarkable. Again, the question for Bob Davie coming, hey, my offensive line, I'm worried about this. Can they protect my quarterback? Another good view right there. Joey Goodspeed doing a great job of picking up the blitzing linebacker Lomax. Offensive line have answered, at least in the pass protection game. You know, they've still got to run the ball a little bit better, that offensive line. Receivers are an issue. They had some polished guys like Bobby Brown, but they've got contributions by a number of them. I think the biggest disappointment for Bob Davie this first half has probably been his special teams, and in particular his kicking game.
And Bobby Brown, who 2 years ago led the Irish with 45 catches and 6 touchdowns, same high school as Michael Irvin and Chris Everett down in Lauderhill, Florida. St. Thomas Aquinas. Had only 13 catches last year. Remember, he was more or less shut out the first part of the year, but he came on strong last couple of games. Not a lot of speed, but great hands and a great spirit.
And a good blocker. I mean, all these wide receivers at Notre Dame are very good blockers. We have a new leprechaun as well, Mike Brown, Milwaukee.
I think he has adrenaline. I don't know what the limit on adrenaline is, but we saw him at the pep rallies. He's excited about the opportunity.
He was a high school quarterback. I think he can still play a little bit.
He's not the only mascot down on the field. Did you know Craig Sager was a mascot?
Yeah, was he Willie the Wildcat? That was the last time he was here.
Wiley the Wildcat.
Yeah, something like that. Northwesterns.
Good to have Craig with us. I'm sure he's pleased that we brought that out. Jackson to throw. Incomplete. Javen Hunter had his hands on it at the Kansas 28-yard line. Stops the clock with 1:18 left in the half. 2nd and 10.
Well, they're hoping Javen Hunter is going to be their deep threat. We've seen Bobby Brown and Rakai Nelson make some tough catches. That ball was clearly catchable. But they hope that Javen Hunter, they need some cheap touchdowns in the passing game. That's what Kevin Rogers really wants out of this newly tooled offense.
3 wide receivers. Brown to the left. Getherall and Nelson to the right. And the intercepted by Sands again. Justin Sands for Kansas to the 43. And what a statement this young man is making in his first collegiate game. He has several tackles. He's blocked a field goal and now a pass interception.
Well, they had a nose tackle. Nate Dwyer intercept 2 passes a year ago. Here you have a defensive end, Justin Sands, and he was dropping off in coverage. They had a blitz. And as a quarterback, you just don't expect to see defensive ends and nose guards dropping off in coverage. I don't think Jarious Jackson had any clue that he was going to be there. And here he is, right? This is defensive 61. And good hands by Justin. Very good hands.
So Kansas with a chance with 1 minute and 10 seconds left in the half. They trail 20-6. They start at their own 43, just across the 43. Zach Wegner in the shotgun. Quick throw to the side. It's Henri Childs, and Childs vaults to the 45 of Notre Dame. Now they're going to mark it down at the 48-yard line. That'll be short of a first down.
I have all 3 timeouts remaining. They're electing not to use any of those at this point.
2nd and 1. Shotgun again for Wegner, the senior. Offside, Notre Dame. As racing in was Lamont Bryan from his defensive end position. Bryant, who is bulked up to 272 pounds, a senior from Georgetown, South Carolina.
This front 4 from Notre Dame has a lot of speed. Bryant and Grant Irons are former linebackers, now in 3-point stanzas. Linebackers are all former safeties and tailbacks in high school.
Illegal procedure against Kansas, so Bryant reacting to some movement in the Kansas line, and Terry Allen doesn't like that call a bit.
You talking about maybe Hartwick? I think that's on
reacted
Bryant.
to Bryant.
Yeah, absolutely. Terry Allen's correct. Great time here for a little pump and then a deep throw.
35 seconds left in the half. That's the tight end Gully in motion. The throwback screen. And it's deflected brilliantly by Brad Williams, a defensive tackle of Notre Dame. Williams in his 24th career start at tackle for the Irish, and for a big man, what a heady play.
Well, both he and Antoine Jones have had some of those. Number 77 right in the middle. Well, I lost my illustrator for a second. But again, the hustling play of Jones. Or excuse me, Brad Williams. Greg Madison, defensive coordinator, saying if we can get Brad Williams just to make a few more plays like that, we have a chance to be in a good defense.
26 seconds left in the half. Kansas looking at 3rd down and 6. Draw play to Winbush. Breaks a tackle and fights his way to a 1st down at the Irish 44-yard line. Timeout. Terry Allen calls with 20 seconds left in the half. I'm impressed by Winbush. He has fumbled the ball twice early, and that got the Jayhawks off to a bad first start. The steps were not good, and the Irish built the early lead 20-0. But since then, he's shown that he's going to be one of the premier talents in the Big 12. Let's take a look at how quick his feet and how that Barry Sanders type stop-start and move directions both laterally and forward, sees the opening and reacts so quickly. A reminder, the Fighting Irish return to NBC Saturday, September 18th against the Michigan State Spartans. Jackson and company attempt to avenge last year's crushing defeat at the hands of Michigan State. Spartans and the Irish, Saturday, September 18th, 3 weeks hence here on NBC. Michigan State, one of the many outstanding Big Ten teams. It'll be Michigan at Ann Arbor next week for Bob Davie, and he knows he'll have his hands full there after the upset of the Wolverines here in South Bend last year.
Yeah, there's a good reason you like David Winbush. He's 10 carries, 56 yards. You know what that average is?
5.6?
Yeah, to move that decimal point. They're going to get tougher as the year wears on, I promise.
Yeah, once you get the decimal point, you get right to .com. It's kind of an automatic transference of learning. 4 wide receivers. Wagner under center this time. Time running out. He's going to go to the sidelines. Complete, or was the catch is allowed? A juggling catch by Michael Chandler. Stops the clock with 13 seconds as the Jayhawks move deeper into Irish territory near the 30-yard line.
Good patience by Zach Wagner, and then good footwork by Michael Chandler. That is well thrown, again, away from the defender, but Michael Chandler knows exactly where he is on the field, stays in bounds, makes a nice catch with the hands, doesn't bobble it.
Chandler, who caught the 14-yard touchdown pass. Joe Garcia anticipating his role in this drive. Will it be extra point or field goal? 13 seconds left in the half. 20-6, Notre Dame. Wagner downfield, almost intercepted by Deke Cooper. Intended for Termaine Fulton. 8 seconds left.
Now, with 8 seconds, you either got to throw a very quick out, and Notre Dame's going to be pressing your wide receivers. They still have 2 timeouts remaining, or you got to decide to try the field goal now. But because if you throw the ball over the middle, it's going to be very hard to get the ball spotted, call a timeout without the clock running out of time. Only 8 seconds remaining.
Well, Zach Wagner, as he looked to the sidelines, he heard just that information and went to the referee, called time, and also said, we're going to call another timeout quickly here after the play.
Well, Joe Garcia, their kicker, had a 51-yard field goal against Oklahoma in 1997. So he is, well, he's probably in range.
He's had a disappointing 3 weeks of camp, but he's a solid kicker in the Big 12. Dad, who migrated from Cuba, and this young man from Olathe, Kansas North High School. A reminder again to go in depth on the Fighting Irish, MSNBCSports.com.
There you
go. Special section, NBC's Notre Dame Central. Features no one else but Pat Hayden with his expert analysis.
Yep, expert.
And you get more than that. You don't just need Hayden. You get profiles, you get video game highlights, you get audio interviews, key players after the game, and you get to vote for the Irish MVP this season. MSNBCSports.com, the official website of NBC Sports.
For the same price. It's really good.
That's right. It's a good price.
Yeah.
And you know there are going to be a lot of Irish fans logging on.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, a great opportunity here for Kansas. You know, look early in the game that they're going to get blown out. The Kansas defense really hung in there. Terry Allen's done a great job of regrouping his team. And they got to get rid of this ball quickly.
2nd and 10 from the Notre Dame 30. Shotgun Wagner. They pick up the blitz, and Wagner going deep. Has a man in the end zone. Touchdown, Termaine Fulton.
Is that a great play? You know, everybody, myself included, thought it was going to be a quick out, and they run the go. And the defensive back bit on the quick out, and boom, Eagles runs right by him. Termaine Fulton.
Fulton, who averaged in his career 23 yards a catch and has 7 touchdowns. He's got great speed. He turned Clifford Jefferson. And a perfect throw by the senior Zach Wagner.
Well, Jefferson was expecting a little quick out and a field goal attempt. Instead, the Jayhawks roll the dice, throw it deep. And when you've got nothing to lose, you make plays like that, make calls like that.
And now the point try by Garcia, and a rare PAT that's successful in this game. It's 20-13. So Justin Sands' interception when the Irish looked as if they may drive in and pad their 20-6 lead sets up this late second touchdown in this first half as Wagner finds Fulton for the score. And Terry Allen, all the body English a coach can offer to help his man in the end zone.
There he goes. You know, Bob Davie, the coach on the other sideline, really sensed. Again, another, you know, everybody, you know, 8 seconds left in the game, throw the quick out. You know, they laid off in coverage. I think Jefferson was going to say, I'm going to step in front of this quick out and score. Instead, they run right by him. Really a nice change of pace and some excited Jayhawks, as they should be.
20-0 Irish in the first quarter as they took advantage of early mistakes by Kansas. A fumble recovery, quick score, interception for a touchdown. But here in the second quarter, it's been all Kansas. Zach Wagner, 2 touchdown passes, and KU outscoring Notre Dame 13-0. Right back in this one with 2 seconds left before the intermission, and that'll give Bob Davies and his coaching staff something to talk about at halftime.
You know, Bob Davies sensed that his team was kind of falling behind and weren't really into the game when they got up 20-0, and I think he really felt he started screaming at his teams, and coaches have that sense, have that feel. He was absolutely right.
It was too easy too early.
Yeah, absolutely. And how about Zach Wagner? You know, that guy deserves some credit. You know, suffers a couple of concussions last year, has now thrown 2 touchdowns in this first half.
They'll just skid this one down into the front man, and almost a recovery for Kansas as the final 2 seconds tick away. Kansas actually in this first half as they leave the field had 170 yards, 5 more than Notre Dame. The Irish with the lead, 20-13. Craig?
3 turnovers. How are you able to keep the team's momentum?
Well, I don't know if we kept the momentum. We got the momentum back, but our kids hung with us, and that's something we've been talking about as far as this football team. And now we got a chance, and that's all we asked for.
David Winbush, 2 turnovers on the fumbles. What'd you say to him?
He was in tears and said, "Coach, take me out." I said, "Dave, we're going to play 11 more football games with you, young man. You get back in there." And he got a little twinkle in his eye, and he went back in there and he did it.
You're in the ball game now.
That's what it's about. Thanks.
All right, back to Dick.
Yeah, David Winbush did return, and how about the freshman Justin Sands blocked field goal and an interception? Stay tuned, folks. Sun America halftime report coming up after these messages from Notre Dame and Kansas.
And Irish coach Bob Davie is not happy with any aspect of his team's game. On offense, he said we dropped 3 balls on a 3-and-1. We let the 25-second clock run off, making it a 3rd and 6. Defense, we gave up 2 huge plays. Our kicking game, we missed an extra point, had a field goal block. He said we control this game, but we better play a whole lot better in this second half or we're in trouble. Dick?
All right, Craig Sager, thank you, and welcome back. Second half about to go, and you can just see some of the gray sneaking into the hair of Bob Davie. Doesn't take long, even when you're a young man in this game. Davie just 44 years of age. Now the Irish will get the first chance to move it. Their 20-0 lead, which could have been much greater, has been squeezed to 20-13.
And I think it's time for Jarious Jackson really to rally his offensive team.
Joey Getherall and Tony Driver are deep. Garcia's end-over-end kick is going to send Driver back into the end zone, and The Irish will kneel for the touchback at the 20. Out comes Jarious Jackson, and Tony Fisher apparently will start at tailback here in the second half. Let's compare Jarious Jackson with his senior counterpart, Zach Wagner.
All right, good running day for Jarious Jackson. You know, not a bad completion percentage by Jarious, but look at the 2 touchdowns really by Zach Wagner, a guy that's been under some duress all camp. He's been talking about the other quarterback. I give Zach Wagner a lot of credit.
That's right. We thought we'd see that Santa Monica transfer Dylan Smith early in this first half, but Wagner certainly has been up to the task. Yep. Jackson gives to his fullback, and Goodspeed, who didn't get a chance to carry the ball in the first half, has 5 into the arms of Darius Lomax, the middle backer for Kansas.
Yeah, if you're going to run the option, you've got to establish that fullback to really be able to have that pitch successfully. And 253-pound Joey Goodspeed.
You see on the sidelines Harrison Hill, and stretched out, had IV before the game and probably at half as well as a
he gets an IV before every ball game, he told us this week. He's a little nervous.
He's the hands receiver. He used to have a quiet game. 2nd and 5. Option. Jackson keeps to the 40. Out to the 47-yard line before Andrew Davis and the last white shirt can drag him down.
Good leaders as well as good players take control when your team really needs you. You know, and the first series of each half kind of sets the tone for the rest of the half. Jim Jones, number 55, gets out in front of him on a little pull, and he was going to keep this one the whole way. The strength of 230-pound Jarious Jackson.
22 yards for Jackson, who is the leading Irish rusher in the game with 53 yards. Not necessarily a statistic that Bob Davie wants, but so far no one has really established himself as the tailback, driver or young Fisher. This is fake to Fisher, and Jackson firing, intercepted, picked off by Carl Neesmith, and Neesmith is to the Notre Dame 33, and how do you do? The Jayhawks have turned the momentum around.
Carl Neesmith is going to be a difference maker, not only in this ball game, but a lot of ball games for the Kansas Jayhawks over the next couple of years. A JC transfer, played quarterback, wide receiver there. They switched him to defensive back. He's right here, number 5. Fills up, reads the play. You know, and Bob Davie was so concerned, we talked to yesterday, about beating himself. He says, I'm not so much worried about the opposition. I respect Kansas, but I'm worried about my team, not their team.
Jarious Jackson can't be too happy with that selection. Even if Neesmith hadn't faded into that zone, Getherall was double covered. At the 33, Kansas with a chance to tie. And Winbush tripped up in the backfield, but whistles and flags fly. Terry Allen, with some anxiety, awaits the word from referee James McConaughey, and it's against Kansas.
Yeah, the Jayhawks talked to us this week about their defensive keys, you know, create turnovers. 3 of them. They've created 2 of them today. They thought they'd get them off of option plays, but 2 interceptions, limit penalties, and then win the short yardage game. They said defensively, if we can stop Notre Dame on 3rd and 1 75% of the time, they do those 3 things, we're going to certainly win defensively.
Winbush. Small crease, and he's able to sprint to the 34-yard line near the original line of scrimmage. It'll be 2nd and 11. Credit to Johnny Sanders and Rocky Boyman with the tackle.
He's done a pretty good job in this offensive line for the Jayhawks. Is Chris Enneking, the center, number 68. You know, he's one of those returning 2 starters. You know, walk-on, came from Lawrence High School, used to sneak into the games after halftime because he got in for free.
Going to teach mathematics when he leaves Kansas, if he doesn't make it as a professional. Throw to Harrison Hill, and Hill, who is the moves and hands possession receiver for Kansas. He led the team with 28 catches last year. Good hands helped him as well in another sport. He lettered as the starting center fielder on the Kansas baseball team.
A good look off there, good read by Zach Wagner. I mean, he answered the questions. Hey, you know, could he take a hit, get up and respond? He was smacked a couple of times by Grant Irons in that first half. And that one, a nice throw there to Hill.
3rd down about 3.5. The throw to the side again to Chandler, and Chandler, who has a touchdown. A flag flies as he's bumped out of bounds inside the 22-yard line. That would be good for the first down. Let's check the penalty. Chandler with a touchdown, first score of the season for the Jayhawks on a 14-yard connection with quarterback Zach Wegner. A legal man downfield against Kansas.
Yeah, he says good call. It says.
Somebody releasing off the line prematurely. That'll deny the first down to Kansas.
Ineligible downfield on the offense. 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down.
Really have been impressed with this Zach Wegner. The way he's kind of handled this team. You're going to see one of these linemen get downfield a little bit too early. You certainly don't see it. You see it there?
It might have been the man lined up on the left side. He was covered. And though a tight end was an ineligible receiver. Uncovered, I should say. Wegner going deep. And Hill well covered, double teamed. Pete Cooper right there for the Irish. That brings up fourth down. And on comes
field goal attempt. Field goal attempt.
Joe Garcia, who was 12 for 17 last year. He's 23 for 31 in his 2 seasons, so good percentage for Garcia. He's moving close to Gale Sayers' scoring mark of 122 points.
You worry about distance so much in these long ones. You just got to make sure you get it high enough so it's not blocked.
Pelfanio, the punter, to hold. It's a 49-yard attempt. Blocked. And a chance for more as Boyman picks it up and is dragged down by Pelfanio. Notre Dame ball, Kansas 34.
Then they had no chance. I mean, you see kickers in college do this all the time. When they try to extend their range a little bit on field goals, they just kick it too low. That was blocked early by Clifford Jefferson, number 15 off the corner. The guy was beaten for a touchdown at the end of the first half, makes a great recovery there, great play, and then Rocky Boyman trying to bring this thing in. A hustling punter. Pelfanio really saved a touchdown.
So the Irish, after turning it over early in the second half on the interception by Neesmith, blocked Garcia's field goal attempt. And it's a first down inside the 35 as Tony Driver battles his way inside the 30-yard line.
You know, Dick, you were saying that, hey, the Irishers, Clifford Jefferson, who just blocked that field goal attempt. The Irish really haven't established a featured running back yet. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the Jayhawk defense. I mean, this is a much improved defense from a year ago. Players like, Neesmith and Lomax in particular. Sands has played remarkably well.
Javen Hunter and David Gibbons, a pair of sophomore receivers in. Brown and Nelson out. Gibbons, a new number 6 in motion inside on the option. Jarious Jackson, at 230 pounds. He's as big as those linebackers, and he pushes them forward. A first down at the 23.
Well, we still haven't seen him pitch the ball yet, but when you run it that way with that much power, I guess you decide to keep it a lot more often.
Yeah, the dog days of baseball. August coming to a close, and all the excitement of the final games of the pennant race in September ahead as NBC looks to the World Series. Well, that is red ahead. Rocky Boyman. What a great name. He just sounds as if he's a hitter. First down, Driver. Able to struggle forward for about 5 after he was grabbed by Justin Sands, who's been one of the defensive stars for Kansas. Tim Bowers there to assist on the stop. This 19-year-old with his first collegiate game making an impression that will be a lasting one, and he's going to grow into a 6'7", 280 already.
Yeah, he may not, even when Deion Johnson's available, he may not get his position back.
Second down 4. This is Goodspeed, the fullback, and he's to the 13, maybe just inside the 13-yard line, close to a first down. They're going to mark it actually shy of the 13-yard line. Now it'll be 3rd and a long one.
You know, coaches' decisions really turn a lot of games. Bob Davie, Terry Allen elected a moment ago, remember, to try that long field goal attempt. It was turned out to be the wrong one because it was blocked. Now it gives Notre Dame a chance to increase their lead.
3rd and short into that power T formation. And the give is to Fisher, and Fisher has the first down at the 10. 1st and goal. They'll have the full 10 for the touchdown. Gray and Irons in the defense on the sidelines as the Irish drive deeper into Kansas territory with 10 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Fresh receivers in. Again, the young wideouts, Hunter and Givens in, and the veterans take a breather. Holloway quiet as the tight end on the right side. He told us yesterday he expects to do more blocking. That pass catching doesn't bother him, or lack of it. Here is Driver inside the 3 to the 2-yard line.
And that is a good, tough inside run by Tony Driver. Maybe his best of the day. Again, pounding offensive linemen on the helmets. John Morandi, Jim Jones. 55 as Jones kind of kicks his man out. It was a fake trap, kind of a sucker play. And then the spinning, driving Tony Driver.
Bob Davie watches that last play defensively. Algie Atkinson with a tackle. 2nd and goal at the 2. It is Fisher to the goal line. Touchdown, Notre Dame. Tony Fisher's first career touchdown here with the Irish. He saw some duty last year, gained 75 yards, and that's a moment he'll remember. 2 yards for his first Irish score.
Yeah, that's a good power run. We saw Tony Driver the play before. Nice, powerful inside run. I mean, it's easy to run outside there in the perimeter, but you need 3 yards for the TD. You put your head down, you keep bowling.
Now, this has been the adventure, the PAT, and Sanson able to connect. The Irish build their lead to 27-13. Fisher with a payoff on the 2-yard run after the blocked field goal by Clifford Jefferson. And the student celebration here at Notre Dame as a
Jim Sanson will kick off. East Bowls.
It's contagious. The push-up fever hits Notre Dame as the Leprechaun tries to get 27. It's 27-13 Notre Dame with 9 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. And Sanson takes it off to Neesmith at the 4. Behind the wedge, and a crushing tackle, still on his feet, however, and battles to the 25-yard line. 21 yards on the return.
Carl Neesmith is going to surprise some people in the Big 12 this year. Kick returner.
They're going to have to find ways to get him the ball.
Absolutely. Play him a little bit on it. I mean, this guy, you know, is 215 pounds, and really it's his own guy, Bowles, that kind of gets in his way, but just drilled by Terrence Howard.
Freshman or sophomore running back Howard, and he just ran right through that. A pretty solid hit. All right, Zach Wagner and the Jayhawks set it up at their own 25-yard line. It's Childs in motion, and the throw in the flat. And Mitch Bowles with yardage out to the 32, 33-yard line.
That's that Purdue play again. Remember, Terry Allen was saying they were influenced by the Purdue Boilermaker offense and the Denver Bronco offense. His wide receiver coach Darryl Wyatt spent the last couple of years with the Broncos, and their offense is designed pretty much like theirs. There's Darryl Wyatt.
One of the reasons why Bob Davies wanted Kansas to be the opponent to help him prepare not only for Michigan but for Purdue down the line. 2nd down, 3. 4 wide receivers. Wagner. And uncaught as Mitch Bowles turning, looking back, double covered, but the ball was there.
Yeah, it was a tight throw, tight area, but well thrown by Zach Wagner. This guy has really played well. And ordinarily, Mitch Bowles is a running back. There against the Johnny Sanders, a free safety. Should have caught that ball.
3rd down and 3. You see the KU on the helmets, and that is one of the real mysteries. It's University of Kansas, but it's KU. Will you tell us about that?
That's been bothering you all weekend.
3rd down and 3. Throw by Wagner and a sliding catch by Chandler as he goes out of bounds at the 36-yard line with a 1st down.
You know,
4th catch for Chandler. You see 42 on all the helmets, that decal honoring one of the great stars in collegiate sports history, Ray Evans. Both before and after World War II, he was All-America not only in football but in basketball for Fog Allen as well. He's in the Hall of Fame.
Well, you know, he had his number retired in both football and basketball at Kansas.
Led the team both in passing, nation passing, and interceptions. I mean, he did it all. Passed away just recently.
Fumble,
and it's going to be recovered by Notre Dame, and it can be advanced. Anthony Denman has an Irish touchdown. Junior Anthony Denman from Rusk, Texas. His first start as an inside linebacker, picks up the fumble by Wagner. And the Kansas Jayhawks pay for their mistake.
Zach Wagner was absolutely mauled inside. And again, it was 77, I think, Brad Williams who got a hold of him.
And Andy Wisney.
And then Anthony Denman just kind of cleans up after them. So Brad Williams, a guy that wanted to come up with some more big plays, that's 2 of them. And then Anthony Denman finishes it off. That's not Zach Wagner's fault. He was absolutely mauled.
House Hanson's trying for point. They're right down the middle this time, and the Irish build their lead to 34-13.
Protection first. If you can't protect the quarterback, you're going to have all sorts of bad things happen.
That was Andy Wisney, 94, jarred it free, and Anthony Denman scoops and scores. The Irish 34, the Jayhawks 13. Big smile, Andy Wisney, the 273-pound junior tackle from Tulsa, Oklahoma. His brother, Jerry, a starting offensive guard with the Irish and a 5th-round draft pick of the Bears, trying to find full employment with the Bears in the NFL. Long kick by Sanson to Bowles. 15, 20, slips another tackle, looking for a block. 25. Oh, that's quite a run. The full width of the field to the 29 before freshman Jerome Sapp from Houston can make the tackle.
Good teamwork on Notre Dame defense in that last time. Here is you're going to see Brad Williams there, and then Andy Wisney, number 94, kind of comes in and really causes the fumble. First the pressure by Williams, then the fumble caused by Andy Wisney, then his teammate Anthony Denman picks it up. Their signal caller on defense. That's, again, real good stunt inside.
31 yards on the touchdown by Denman, his first as the Irish. And here's the new quarterback, Dylan Smith, number 4, transfer from Santa Monica City College. Hands off to Winbush, and Winbush has drawn the 3 Irish tacklers, and they drop him for a loss.
Now, I don't think you can blame Zach Wagner for that last fumble, but I think the plan all along was to play Dylan Smith some. And with the history of concussions by Zach, I think it's a smart thing to do, and that's exactly what Terry Allen had in mind.
There's Denman. He's fired up after that touchdown as he buries Winbush. And we talked to Wagner about it. Said, are you intimidated by the fact they bring in this outstanding JC All-America? It might take your job. He said, no, I am one hit away from being gone. They need to have somebody ready to go. Out of the shotgun, Smith. His first throw is a major collegiate, and it goes for a loss as Henri Childs is punished by DEVERON HARPER.
Well, DEVERON HARPER had his first interception and then brought it in for a touchdown in the first half. This is really a solid hit. Of all their defensive backs, DEVERON HARPER, number 10, is their best tackler. Again, this is a play that Kansas ran successfully a few times. It's that bubble play that Purdue runs so much and so well. But DEVERON HARPER's got a read on it and just absolutely drills Childs.
So Winbush run for a loss. Now the pass complete for a loss. 3rd down and 14. Smith rolls, guns, and almost intercepted. as playing the ball was Lee Lafayette, intended for Michael Chandler, and Lafayette had a hand on it.
Well, strong arm of Dylan Smith. He's trying to get the ball to Micah Chandler. He does not see Termaine Fulton, who was open over the middle. Never saw him.
That's great coverage by Lee Lafayette. And the Notre Dame crowd stands and cheers the defense. Belfanio in his debut has punted well. Getherall back at the Notre Dame 35.
What are the chances of a fair catch by Getherall?
0.
Never seen him do it.
Another booming kick by Belfanio. Boy, they found themselves a great punter. Where will it stop? Oh, he's a bit unlucky. It kicks into the end zone. 75 yards. Belfanio 55 net. Timeout. 5:35 left in the third. I know you're an old bird watcher, Pat Hayden. What is it about the Jayhawk? Is that indigenous to the state of Kansas?
It's mythical. You should know. There's no such thing.
Well, one of the colorful mascots to be certain in collegiate athletics is Tony Fisher with a call on first down. Out across the 25, a gain of 6. Let's go back to that punt by Belfanio. It's the 6th longest in Kansas history. And if you mark where he kicks it, where the ball hits foot, it's
right about what?
Let's call it the 16.
Yeah.
And it rolled 3 yards into the end zone.
It lands on the 12. I mean, it's
wow. It's not the longest. The longest ever, John Hadle, the great quarterback, went on for a successful career in the NFL. 94 yards against Oklahoma in 59. John is in the athletic department at Kansas, associate athletic director. Tom Lipinski, the son of a former cornerback here, Tom Sr., who played 1972 to 75, and in a senior year in 75 intercepted 4 passes. And little Tom is a little different sort. He's only 256 pounds this sophomore.
And what a great name for an Irish fullback, huh?
Yeah,
Tom Lipinski.
He sounds like he's going to bowl over some defenders. They like him, and he's a terrific blocker. Out of Hudson, Ohio, went to Walsh Jesuit High School. First down at the Irish 32. 1.5 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Here comes Jackson on the option. He's across the 40 to the 41, and about 9 more for Notre Dame before Kareem High and the secondary for Kansas can stop him. He's an imposing threat with that size and that speed. 230-pound quarterback coming at you.
Yeah, and you're right. With pretty good speed, and he's a strong runner. He's almost like a fullback. I mean, he's kind of, secures the ball, runs through a lot of tackles, and you got big old Tommy the Beast Lipinski leading the way at 256 pounds. Kind of gets pushed out of the way.
In fact, Kevin Rogers, the new offensive coordinator here at Notre Dame, talking about Jackson, that he is a quarterback with a football running fullback mentality.
Yeah, notice that Donovan McNabb was kind of a guy that make you miss. He said the thing about Jarious Jackson, I mean, he'll try to run right over you.
His rushing yards almost 6, just 6 from his passing total today. So Fisher moves the ball to the Kansas 49 and another Irish first down. And this has been an impressive drive thus far that began after the touchback at the 20. Getherall and Gibbons to the left. And straight ahead on the drive goes the big fullback Lipinski. Lomax makes the tackle. A reminder, folks, tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern, NBC concludes its coverage of the track and field World Championships from Seville, Spain. Michael Johnson, he defended his 400-meter, did he ever, world record time. Tomorrow he's set to anchor the U.S. 4x400 relay. Superman may just have another performance in him. The track and field World Championships, final gathering of the world's greatest athletes leading up to the Olympic Games in Sydney. That's all tomorrow at 12 noon Eastern here on NBC. Lipinski softens the middle, and then Fisher comes right back up the middle, close to another Irish first down. And Pat, this is the kind of drive that plagued Kansas all last year. They were in so many games going into the fourth quarter or late in the fourth quarter. Lack of depth and perhaps conditioning, and Terry Allen hopes he's got more depth, and he certainly has worked him hard enough to be better fit for those fourth quarter charges. Can they accomplish that today?
And you know, the offensive turnovers. So they've been 4 offensive turnovers thus far, and then they also had a block kick. I mean, putting their defense on the field much too long.
And they frankly do not have the depth of talent Notre Dame enjoys.
And that's why Terry Allen believes, hey, his niche is passing. He's, you know, I'm not going to be able to recruit the guys that Nebraska does and Missouri and some of those schools in the Big 12. So hey, we're going to find our niche. It's going to be throwing the ball. A hot quarterback can beat anybody on a Saturday when he's playing well.
Mike McNair comes in at fullback, the sophomore from Corona Del Mar, California. On 3rd and short, this drive, 6 plays, all on the ground, and that's the telling mark when the defense just cannot stop the run. They just keep plowing into you and picking up first downs. And another is Fisher. Nice little move at the line of scrimmage and forward for about 4 to the 35-yard line. 7 plays, 7 runs have taken the Irish from their own 20 to the Kansas 35.
Boy, good lead block. This is a new fullback, their 3rd fullback, Mike McNair. And highly recruited at a Monterey High School in Southern California, and converted him to a fullback. And boy, he met Carl Neesmith there, and then allowed Fisher to kind of dance around his block for a nice little gain.
Didn't get to carry the ball last year, McNair. Maybe he'll get a chance here. Changing the play, Jarious Jackson. Whoops. And changed it into something that wasn't communicated to the rest of his teammates. So he has to eat it for a loss. Tim Bowers makes the tackle.
There, Kevin Rogers with the high-end water in front of him. But
that's right, goalpost. Avion goalpost.
But, you know, he really wants to take some shots offensively. This looked like, I thought it was going to be, it's supposed to be kind of a fake option and then a pass. But, you know, you see that so often. You run the option, you run the option, run the option. The safety comes up, then you throw it over his head. I think that's what they're trying to set up.
5-yard loss, 2nd and 15. And Davies, as he looks at the clock with 1 minute remaining in the 3rd quarter, calls time. They weren't going to get the play off, tried to save the 5-yard penalty, and did. So 58 seconds left in the 3rd. The Irish looking for more. They lead 34-13. Back at Notre Dame, Dick Enberg, Pat Hayden, Greg Sager. The Irish lead 34-13. Final minute of the 3rd quarter. There's a look at the Notre Dame runners.
Yeah, remember they only had 90 yards at halftime, so if my math is correct, 101 yards rushing here in this 3rd quarter. I was an English major.
Academic All-America. Yeah. It shows that.
Shoes and socks off.
All right, here comes Jackson on 2nd down and 15, and a loss as Tony Driver meets Greg Erb. Erb from Lawrence, Kansas. He's already graduated. He's taking a couple of classes. He's a pre-med major, an academic All-America himself, 3.69, coach in the secondary, good hitter. Plans for medical school. Both parents are on the faculty at KU. Very engaging young man.
He's got a brother in med school, a younger brother, a straight-A student in high school.
Parents never wanted him to play football.
Absolutely.
You'll just get hurt, they said. Does that sound familiar?
Yeah, I'm saying that now as a parent.
3rd and 16 for Jackson. Drop back pass. Intercepted by Lomax. Darius Lomax, that middle linebacker. And it's a Kansas ball at the 33-yard line. Driver made the tackle.
Well, that's 3 interceptions by Jarious Jackson. That one, it looked like he was just trying to lob the ball in there because the receiver was so wide open. But Darius Lomax has great speed. And he just kind of stepped right in front of Javen Hunter. This is a guy, Lomax, that they feel he and Carl Neesmith are really going to make a difference in 2 or 3 ball games.
I'm sure Bob Davie is going to look at this drive and say, now let me see. We started at 20. We ran it 9 straight times, got all the way down there to the Kansas side, and then we threw it, and the Jayhawks have the ball. And it's Winbush on the final play of the 3rd quarter. You've got 15 to go. Jarious Jackson has run it well. Not pleased, however, with his passing numbers. 3 interceptions today. But Notre Dame leads at 34-13 over Terry Allen's Jayhawks. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. talking with Bob Davie. He's a superstitious sort. He likes everything to be just right, do it the same way. Well, if they do it the same way, the Irish will win today, because when Davie's teams have led going into the fourth quarter, they're unbeaten 10 in a row. Dylan Smith, incomplete. Off the hands of the usually sure-fingered Harrison Hill. Let's go to Craig Sager.
Pass intended for Harrison Hill, incomplete.
Well, we mentioned earlier the heat problems. However, both teams apparently are in pretty good shape. They've been practicing all summer, their strength and conditioning coaches. But one problem is the band, particularly Notre Dame's. They just gathered about a week ago. Remember, they didn't work out all summer, and so far, 9 members of the Notre Dame Fighting Irish Band have been taken in for heat exhaustion. So it's a big problem for those in the stands, and obviously band members who probably didn't keep in shape over the summer.
Yeah, good point, Craig. And those uniforms never were built for coolness, really. Big wool jobs. Winbush with a leaping catch and battles out to the 45, and he's an all-effort runner, isn't he? And ever since that slow start and the 2 fumbles, he is giving Kansas all he's got.
Well, there's Mickey Marotti, the strength and conditioning coach for Notre Dame. Bob Davie really credits him a year ago when his team really kind of melted 2 years ago in the second half. They hired him, got his team in condition, very unusual conditioning drills. They pushed vans around, they've tossed tires, things like that, but really gives him a lot of credit for being strong in the second half and late in the game.
First down for the Jayhawks at the 45-yard line. Here's Smith off some play action. Nifty move there.
Yeah.
Gets a block and throws, has a man open. Tight end. It's Jason Gully, and Gully has a first down at the Notre Dame 36-yard line. Make it the 35.
Well, the impromptu play, you love to see it. Dylan Smith has that kind of capability. Nearly 3,000 yards passing a year ago, 25 touches. And also, what's the block, too, later in this play by David Winbush, Winbush, number 22. It makes Boyman miss. Here comes the block there. And then a real nice throw, kind of weaved in between a linebacker and defensive back to his tight end Gully.
20 yards on the play. First down at the Irish 35, trailing 34-13, early fourth quarter. Give to Winbush. Oh, that's a good play by Johnny Sanders off the corner. Just denied him and knew as Winbush tried to cut back there to secure the tackle, no gain. Well, they're hoping this Smith, number 4, will be dialing for touchdowns. And Coach Terry Allen feels that he has, even though his arm is sore, that he really has great arm strength. And in meeting him, terrific poise.
Yeah.
His brother graduated from Cal Berkeley, mother a teacher, really a very bright young man. And obviously talented. Plenty of time, looks, and then goes long. It is off the fingertips of Eric Patterson. No, the big tall Anton Page was the target, and Deke Cooper denied.
Boy, good range by Deke Cooper. We've seen Deke Cooper up at the line of scrimmage a few times. We've seen Deke Cooper on the perimeter making tackles, and then he comes all the way across the field. Really, as the free safety, the center fielder to knock that one away from Page.
That was a perfect throw. Look, right on the target to Page. He thought he had a touchdown.
Dylan Smith did a good job. Looked left first, trying to look the free safety off, but Deke Cooper wasn't fooled.
Brings up third down and 10 at the Irish 35. And with the most interceptions each game, gets taken out to dinner by the rest of the starters. They want the ball. Smith firing incomplete. He overshot his target, Winbush. He also had Termaine Fulton in the area.
Well, he's going to learn, Dylan Smith, if he threw the ball a little too hard, but also 3rd and 10. There's no way he's going to get a first down. It was going to be a 3-yard gain.
So on 4th and 10, they'll go for it, don't you think?
Absolutely. And again, as a quarterback, you always remind your receivers on 4th and 10, make sure you get the yardage needed. They don't need any 8-yard completions.
And timeout called by Terry Allen. Let's see if Smith and his teammates are able to see it. Yep. That stops the clock at 13:28 left in the fourth quarter. Now Allen, 4th and 10, trying to make the most out of this drive as Jayhawks need points. They trail 34-13. And welcome back to Notre Dame. Season opener, the Eddie Robinson Classic, and the Leprechaun showing all his moves today. Save some for Boston College in late November. The snap back to Smith, and Smith trying to battle for the first down, and he's brought down about a yard short. So the Irish will take over on downs. It was a 4th and 10 play for Kansas, and I'm not sure that it's exactly what Terry Allen had in mind, but his runner, quarterback Dylan Smith, showed some pretty good leg power.
Yeah, it looked like a quarterback draw call. A tough call to get 10 yards on, although, Dylan Smith is more of a thrower than he is a runner. I mean, 4th and 3, 4th and 4 is one thing, but 4th and 10.
Well, you get a sense of what this man's all about. A former quarterback coach. He thinks like a quarterback. He likes big plays, and that's what's going to appeal to a lot of young players in the Midwest. That he's looking, and he'll take chances with players with speed and offensive skills. Now, whether he can get the defensive players to match up on the other side of the ball is the real crucial question.
Although I believe his defense has really played pretty well. It's the offensive turnovers that have really gotten KU into some trouble here. But his defensive players, number 61 Sands, we've mentioned a couple of times, or a lot. Nesmith, Lomax, a lot to work with there. There's the defensive coordinator, Ardell Wiegand.
Jarious Jackson, who had only 6 interceptions all last year, with 3 today in the opener. With the Irish stay on the ground now with this lead on the option. It's Terrain Howard, his first carry as a Notre Dame running back, the sophomore from Willingboro, New Jersey. And I think very highly of him, as Coach Davey said. He doesn't need a very big hole.
Well, they really have 4 really good running backs. Julius Jones is a freshman. They're trying to not play much or at all, but they like Driver, Fisher, Terrence Howard. Some real depth at that tailback position. Again, we're trying to replace Autry Denson, who kind of hogged that position for 4 years.
He's piled up yardage more than anyone in Notre Dame history. 3rd down now and 6. Quarterback draw for Jackson. Look at him run up the middle to the 50-yard line and a first down. So it appears that Jarious Jackson will be the leading rusher for the Irish today. That's 19 more for him. He started the game with a 38-yard scramble for a touchdown.
Well, Smith had a quarterback draw just a moment ago. Call play. You can tell by the offensive lineman. Big old Mike Gandy, number 69, clearing the way out there for Jarious Jackson. With about 11 minutes left in this, 11 and a half minutes left in the ball game, 34-13. I'm a little concerned about those kind of calls if you're trying to worried about your quarterback for a full season.
Irish looking for their 10th consecutive home win. The give to the fullback, Joey Goodspeed. He leans forward for 5. Darius Lomax and others in on the tackle. It'll be 2nd down and 5 for Notre Dame. Irish go to Ann Arbor, University of Michigan next week, then to Purdue, and then we'll have them here at home, Michigan State, in 3 weeks. Kansas returns home, their home opener against Cal State Northridge.
Their nickname, the old Matadors, right?
Matadors from the San Fernando Valley.
You were a professor there and baseball coach, and did your own name for the baseball team. What'd you do with it?
The Picadors were the freshmen. Matadors.
That's good. I like that. That's right. You guys win? No?
2nd down 5. The toss and a fumble by Fisher. Is he able to fall on it? Ball still free. The scramble at the 41-yard line. Kansas recovers. Now Bob Davie will have a lot to work on before that engagement with the Wolverines next Saturday. Another turnover by Notre Dame.
And I believe this is the first pitch we've seen from Jarious Jackson. Now, it was a fine pitch, perfect pitch to Howard. Should have been caught.
Howard unable to handle it. Jackson has been intercepted 3 times, and now the fumble recovery. Nate Dwyer, the sophomore nose tackle, 300-pounder from Stillwater, Minnesota, fell on the ball.
Yeah, Nate Dwyer had 2 interceptions a year ago as a nose tackle, 1 for a touchdown.
4 turnovers plus 2 blocked field goals, so it's really 5 and 5. Give inside, and it's Mitch Bowles able to pick up a yard or 2.
Bob Davie was talking to us yesterday about how his team really secured the ball, didn't turn the ball over much.
You take that SC game out of the package last year, and there were only 6 turnovers.
It has been a completely different story, and again, why he wanted an early season game.
Norris, the fullback, in motion. Smith off play action. Quick feed, doesn't it? Down he goes at the 45-yard line. A gain of only a couple, but he did avoid the loss.
And a disciplined play, Dick. Very disciplined. You know, didn't force it. And you look at him as a real athletic guy, but he's a smart player. It's not going to force it, and more of a thrower than he is a runner.
Remember, he's only been at Kansas for just 3 weeks trying to learn this system. Third down, 6. 9.5 left in the fourth quarter. Notre Dame 34, Kansas 13. And he can't get away this time as the sack logged by Ryan Roberts, playing his first game in an Irish uniform, a sophomore from Lawnside, New Jersey.
Good coverage downfield allows Ryan Roberts, ordinarily a defensive end. They've kind of moved him inside a little bit today because of some injuries. Former linebacker. They've got a lot of guys they've moved from linebacker to defensive lineman. They put 30 pounds on him, a lot of peanut butter jelly sandwiches, but they still maintain that speed.
And then the safeties, they give them some sandwiches, they move them to linebacker.
That's exactly right. That's exactly what they're doing.
The punt by Pelfanio has been a bright spot for Kansas all day. Down together all at the 21. Right up the middle to the 30. On his feet to the 33. And this little guy refuses to go down. 42 yards in the punt, 13 on the return. The Irish with the ball at the 33-yard line when we return to South Bend.
As the year 2000 approaches, Notre Dame fans are rating the greatest moments in a century of Irish football. With me is Vic Couch in his 59th year as a Notre Dame usher. Your expert opinion, what's the greatest moment in Irish football history?
One of them was when Ann Devine put the green jerseys on and came out and beat Southern California.
That was 1977?
That was really a turning point at Notre Dame. I loved it.
Springboard a national title. Obviously, Notre Dame didn't invent football, but they made it famous. What can you tell me about the Four Horsemen?
My dad stopped for some cigarettes, and across the field behind the store came 4 horses. So I watched them, and they came across. My dad came out, and he said, "Let's see what's going to happen." And behind us, 4 men were coming across the road, and they got up on these horses, and the one guy wouldn't get up.
Who?
I don't know. I don't know.
You're telling me against a blue-gray October sky, 3 of the 4 horsemen decide to ride again. Let's go. Before we ruin a legend, let's go back to Dick and Pat.
That Harry Stool driver, he just went always late mounting. That's great. Long touchdown attempt by Jackson, but could not find Rakai Nelson, and Jackson not taking any chances, and Darius Lomax logs another tackle for Kansas. It'll be 3rd down and about 9.
You know, it really is time to get Jarious Jackson out of the ball game, in my estimation. I mean, it looked like they called another quarterback draw. They're up 34-13, 8 minutes remaining in this ball game. They have it in hand. Arnell's battle played well. He needs the experience. I'd get Jarious Jackson out of the ball game.
Jackson, who was injured in the final seconds of the LSU victory. Last home game for the Irish, their 9th win in a row, as he tried to run out the clock, take a safety, and was injured the knee. And it probably cost him the SC game. It might have cost him a major bowl game. Probably did. Jackson again. Hit as he throws. What a catch by Getherall out at the 49-yard line. And good throw by Jackson, who was hit hard by Marcus Rogers as he delivered the ball.
Jarious Jackson has made some pretty good throws rolling to his left, getting him outside of the pocket. He gets those shoulders turned and squared. He gets killed or drilled by Marcus Rogers, number 8. Getherall first secures the ball, gets the foot down. Again, I just think when your team is leading 34-13, you can't afford to get Jackson hurt.
7:40 remaining in the fourth quarter. The Irish with a 21-point lead. And it's Tony Fisher plowing forward for a couple near the 46 of Kansas. Algie Atkinson and others make the tackle. Say a reminder tomorrow, it's a busy week on NBC this weekend. Our coverage of the WNBA playoffs kicks off. The LA Sparks facing the Houston Comets, the Western Conference Finals. It'll be game 2 of their best-of-3 series. Cynthia Cooper and the Comets down 1-0 need to rally as they go for their 3rd consecutive WNBA crown. Sparks, Comets, game 2 tomorrow 4 Eastern here on NBC. Of course, the World Track and Field Championships earlier. Give to Fisher. Finds a hole, breaks a tackle, nods them to clear at the 30, 20, 10, and dives, touchdown! Across the goal line when he lost the ball, making the dive, Tony Fisher, 46-yard touchdown run.
Well, they brought in Arnaz Battle to replace Jarious Jackson. He hands the ball nice and deep in that I formation to Tony Fisher. And when your defense has been on the field as long as Kansas, I mean, you just get worn out. Absolutely. Worn out. But, you know, Tony Fisher, you see the 111 yards, he's made some tough physical inside runs besides those long, easy ones.
Well, then we see placing him must be to see he has the speed to outrun the defense when he gets outside. Sanson adds the extra point, and the Irish build their lead to 41-13.
Good blocking on the left side. Jabari Holloway, Jordan Black, that left tackle we've heard so much about. And then the speed of Tony Fisher. Secures the ball, gets the ball over the goal line. Just has to get the ball over the plane. And that's a touch.
Back at the Eddie Robinson Classic here at Notre Dame, the Irish lead 41-13. Smiling Tony Fisher, his 2nd touchdown, his first scores. As an Irish running back, Sanson kicks it off. Mitch Bowles at the goal line. Bowles to the 20 and out to the 25-yard line. Let's go back to the touchdown, or was it?
No, it was a phantom. Watch Tony Fisher. Again, the ball just has to cross the plane, but you need possession of it. He did not have possession of that ball as he crossed the white line here. It's the beginning of the line. This is another look at it. He's tried to reach out, but no, he didn't get over the end zone. That should have been a fumble and really a touchback. Good play there by Abdul Rahim. I think it stripped him of the ball. But the Irish got away with one there.
And they lead 41-13. The Irish led 20-0 early, taking advantage of Kansas turnovers. The Jayhawks came back, made it close at halftime, 20-13. Winbush out to the 34-yard line. And then the game may have turned when the Irish were intercepted early in the 3rd quarter. And the Jayhawks unable to take advantage of that when Carl Neesmith picked off the ball at the Notre Dame 33-yard line, and then Garcia had his 49-yard field goal blocked by Clifford Jeffries, and that from that moment on, it's been all Irish.
Yeah, and you see the rushing difference there. And that has been really the difference here.
Against a team that ranked one of the lowest in the nation in stopping the run a year ago. Winbush with some determination has another Kansas first down. Just under 6 minutes to play.
Well, if you're a half-full kind of guy, I know you are, Dick, for Terry Allen, you know, the good things are I think he found out that, hey, Zach Wagner can take a hit, and he played very well under some duress today. His offensive line, new offensive line, got some good play out of those offensive linemen. His defense, although some of those numbers don't show it, they were on the field a long time, some real good new players on that Kansas defense.
Draw play to Bowles, and Bowles does just that. Bowles out to the 44-yard line before Grant Irons can make the tackle. So some Notre Dame starters still on the field, although Bob Davie sprinkling in some new faces. One of those, number 2, Carlos Pierre Antoine from Everett, Washington. There he is. He's a 6'3", 240-pound linebacker in his first varsity game.
Good recruiting classes the last 2 years for Bob Davie.
Really good. Smith, flanker pass, and nowhere to go for Tremaine Fulton as Clifford Jefferson wearing him like a uniform. Might have lost a yard.
Yeah, a little gum on your shoe here. I mean, that's what it felt like. If the quarterback reads, and if the cornerback reads that quarterback, and you know, unless you're going to get beaten deep like you did in the end of the first half, you know it's going to be a quick little pass, so you start driving.
3rd down and 6. Harrison Hill to the left this time. Jefferson moves up bump and run position with Fulton to the wide side of the field. Smith rolling and throwing. Almost intercepted as diving in front of that potential pass was Jason Beckstrom. I believe that was the freshman from Tulsa. And that was very nearly a touchdown. The Jayhawker was beyond the defense.
Yeah, but this is one where Smith has to lob it over that defender rather than drill it through. Yeah, you know, Beckstrom just reading his eyes the whole well, but if he
it was Ron Israel.
Okay, Israel.
37.
Over the top of him, you have a chance for a touchdown to Fulton. And he has a lot of confidence, Smith does, in his arm.
Joey Pelfanio, the punter. Look at that average today, 51.4. What is he going to do when he gets into some of those windstorms in the Big 12?
Punt down wind.
He rolled this one dead just outside the Irish 10-yard line. A 47-yard punt. 4 minutes 13 seconds remain. Notre Dame apparently on its way to win number 10 in a row at home. Welcome back. Notre Dame ball at the 11-yard line. We're going to get our first look at a very promising fast young running back from Big Stone Gap, Virginia, number 22, Jarious Jones. Other tailbacks have power and speed. This man has lightning speed. And Jones breaking up the middle, and he was another step from going all the way. Does he get off the blocks quickly?
He has gotten everybody's attention. Coaches, players. Jarious Jackson was saying, hey, I loved Autry Denson, but this guy is a faster Autry Denson. Jarious Jones right up the middle. There's nothing fancy about this. Just follow your lead block and just run through some tackles.
Jones is 5'10 and 190. As a senior, rushed for over 2,500 yards and 36 touchdowns. All-state hurdler. His brother is a great running back with Virginia, University of Virginia. Didn't get off at all on that one as the handoff goes to Lipinski, the fullback, for short yardage.
Well, his brother, you're right, has a chance of being the leading rusher in University of Virginia history, I believe. And he has a sister that plays volleyball at UVA also. Very athletic family. But this guy, Jarious Jones, they think is going to be special. I'm surprised, actually, that he's playing.
Well, it's an indication that Bob Davies already made his decision that he's not going to redshirt him. Yeah. He's going to be a factor in this season, even with Driver and Fisher and Howard in front of him. For how long? He gets the handoff, and not much there across the 26-yard line, 25-26. And on the first carry by Jones, the tackle was made by Justin Sands, and he went limping off. Let's hope not a serious injury. Such a big game for him.
Oh, he played well. Interception, blocked field goal.
Yeah, that doesn't look like more muscle than anything serious around the knee. Now at quarterback now, Arnaz Battle, wearing famous quarterback number here at Notre Dame, number 3.
7's pretty famous around here as well.
Not too bad. So is it catch? No, it was trapped by David Gibbons. That'll bring up third down. Who were the? Give me two number threes.
Joe Montana. It's an easy one to.
They'll tune
Coley
in.
O'Brien. Rick Meyer.
Well, I was really thinking of Ralph Guglielmi.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking actually of Ralph. How about some 7s?
Go ahead. Why don't we tune in with that? Aren't you going to give all that information on your?
So save it for the cyberspace.
The czar of cyberspace. Boy, you're going to be terrific. Battle keeps it. And he's got great foot speed for a quarterback. They say he can run with any of the tailbacks, and now he's in the clear, and no one's going to catch him. Arnaz Battle, touchdown Notre Dame.
I'll tell you what, a dramatic 75-yard run, but I love that at the beginning of it, you see he grabbed his fullback's jersey, Lipinski, and kind of threw him out of the way before he cut back. Arnaz Battle.
Against the tired Kansas defense, Bob Davie. That's another piece of power we have. Battle, those legs of his, and he showed you the speed in the open field.
And a great idea to get him, remember we saw him in the first half, get him some experience in the real tough conditions. Early in the season, so you don't wait till what happened to him a year ago against USC.
Sampson adds the extra point. It's 48-13.
Dick, I don't know if you saw it, but you love Arnett's battle as he grabs his fullback by the jersey. Lipinski, he says, hey, get out of my way here. I'm going this way. Good cut. Again, the power of Jarious Jackson. And then some speed. He had a little bit of everything in that run.
75 yards for a touchdown. Despondent sidelines for Kansas. They were within 20-13 at the half, but outscored by the Irish 28-0 here in the second half. And now trail 48-13 as Sampson, another kickoff for the senior, down to the 4-yard line to Henri Childs. And Childs stopped cold by Pierre Antoine at the 23. Well, today Chevrolet players of the game: Justin Sands from Kansas, Tony Fisher from Notre Dame. In recognition of their efforts, Chevrolet will make a contribution to each school's general scholarship fund. The Chevrolet Scholarship Program has been a tradition for more than a quarter of a century in college football. Let's hope Sands' injury is not a serious one. Oh, he shows so much promise in a position that Kansas desperately needs a star.
They feel he's going to be all Big 12 at some point. It could be very, very quickly.
No time running out. Smith, receivers covered. Oh, as he hit hard. As number 95, Ryan Roberts, trailing the play, topples Dylan Smith.
You know, in roller derby, they call it the whip. Sometimes you use a big roller derby. Watch how he uses his fullback as his whip, Lipinski. Here he goes.
Don't break the jam.
Yeah, he calls it off. But then, you saw good patience by Battle, then some power, then vision, and then finally the speed. 75 yards later, he's in the end zone.
Well, and more importantly,
he did drop the ball. He threw it. Did he?
I think he was across, but that's not something you want to do. Didn't you see an official?
The official came right up to him and said, none of that. And I'm sure Bob Davie will have something to say to him about that, as will Kevin Rogers.
So at the moment, 35-point lead would be the largest margin of victory in the Bob Davie era. As Dylan Smith off slowly after that solid hit, and Zach Wegner, the starting quarterback, the senior, back in. Hot, humid day, 90 degrees even in the shadows of the late afternoon. Very humid, uncomfortable. A team that has less firepower, Kansas, and more or less have wilted here under the power of the considerable depth of Notre Dame. Childs on the carry out to the 37-yard line. With 1:12 left in the fourth quarter, first down.
What did Terry Allen tell us? He wants a team that's consistent, not up one week, down the next, or, as he looks at year to year, he wants a team that, can show some progress, stay consistent. Winters thinks he has a chance of being a bowl team, but the offense just can't turn the ball over as much as they did today.
Well, he knew that. Childs breaking into the clear for 11 more, and another Kansas first down. Donald Dykes made the tackle. Dykes getting some work at corner. Here's the Notre Dame schedule: at Michigan and at Purdue. 2 games in which they probably will be the underdog. Michigan State then at home, Oklahoma, Arizona State, Southern Cal, and Navy in a row. There is a 1-week break in that series between USC and Navy. They have a week off. Then at Tennessee, Pittsburgh, Boston College, Stanford. It might be difficult to repeat a 9-3 season for Bob Davie. We'll see how good this Irish team is. As Childs carries forward into Notre Dame territory to the 48-yard line. Final seconds. We'll see whether or not Terry Allen's team gets another play off. Well, the season starts for these men the day after the final game in 1998. They've worked for months and months preparing for a new year, wondering, as we said, lots of isms and asms, lots of enthusiasm and optimism. Now reality is hit. You go back to the video and you study it. How can we be better next week? For Notre Dame, they better be. A Michigan Wolverine team waits. Final score, 48-13 Notre Dame. Join us tonight, 8 Eastern and Pacific. America's best gymnasts compete in prime time. The U.S. Gymnastics Championships tonight on NBC. For Pat Hayden and Craig Sager, this is Dick Enberg. So long from Notre Dame.